All right, what up, y'all? What up? What up, y'all? This is a special episode of Hanging with July and Wilk. Um, we're gonna be talking about a few topics today. I got a couple of special guests coming on shortly, but I just want to explain to y'all what we're gonna be talking about. Basically, we're gonna be talking about the Game Six between the Hawks and Philly. We're gonna talk about Game Six with the Clippers and the Jazz. We're gonna recap those games. We're gonna talk about the upcoming Game Sevens. We got a little game that we're gonna play that's called quarterback point guard. We're gonna do that. I got that from my idea from U3 Sports. Shout out to U3 Sports. Um, what else? Yeah, we're gonna talk about the all NBA snubs. Uh, who really got snubbed on the all NBA team? We're gonna talk about that. Um, yeah, we're gonna talk about Chris Paul. Rudy Gobert overrated? Is Donovan Mitchell underrated? You know, things like that. Let's see. It's just a lot of topics that we gonna talk about. Let's see. Let's see. Head to link. Yeah, but first I want to talk about the all NBA snubs. Waiting on my other guests to come through, but yeah, we definitely got to talk about the all NBA snubs. Um, on the first team, we had Jokic, which I think is a check. We had Curry, which I think is a check. Giannis, which I think is a check. Luca, check. I mean, I'm gonna give Luca a check. And then we had Kawhi. Now, I'm not mad at Kawhi being all NBA first team, but also I wouldn't have minded if I would have seen Julius Randle get NBA first team. I wouldn't mind it at all. If Julius Randle would have got NBA first team, that would have been good. That would have been good. Let me send the link to my dog. Make sure I send the link to my dog. Hold on. Let's see. Copy. Let's see. Paste. Got to make sure everybody got the link. So yeah, that was the first team. So you had Luca, you had Kawhi, you had Giannis, you had Embiid, and you had Curry. I don't think there was actually a snub on the first team. But like I said, I honestly had Randall making the first team over Kawhi. Um, so it don't matter. So the first team was actually good to me. The first team was real good. Like I don't have no problem at all with the first team. Um, let's see. Somebody messaged me. Hold on. Let me go to my message. Let's see. Oh, Jared said bet. Bet. Okay. Let me message my little cousin too. It had to. Uh, and then on the second team, Embiid. I mean, Joel Embiid was basically. Hold on. I mean, I just got everybody keep messaging me at the same time and shit. Okay, let me go do this. Okay, there we go with that. And okay, yeah, Joel Embiid. He was actually on the second team, but I think he was on the second team was because of injuries. Like he probably would have won MVP if he wasn't injured. Uh, so it just all depends on what your preferences is. Um, but at the same time, they had Lonzo Ball winning Rookie of the Year over Anthony Edwards, and Lonzo Ball missed 21 games. Like I really don't understand what's going on with that. Who else was on the second team? We had LeBron. Everybody keep texting me. We had LeBron James on the second team. I'm gonna wait till my guests come on because we definitely got to discuss that. We had Steph on the second team, and who else was on the second team? Oh yeah, my boy Dame Lillard on the second team. And then let's see who we had on the third team. I had Bradley Beal, Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, and Rudy Gobert. So the big question is, Rudy Gobert, is he overrated as a player in the NBA? Is Rudy Gobert overrated because he's a great rim protector? Is Donovan Mitchell underrated? I mean, it really just depends. It really just depends. I'm gonna bring I'm gonna bring my little cousin on, Jared, on. I want to get his opinions about Rudy Gobert because I know he had posted um a quote that Draymond Green had said about Rudy Gobert feeling uncomfortable and Draymond Green not feeling uncomfortable in situations on the defensive side. So I'm gonna bring my little cousin to come break that down to me to let us know exactly what Draymond was talking about. All right, Jared. All right, Jared, you on?
Wow, what's happening? So the Draymond Green thing, uh, it makes perfect sense, man. You know, a lot of people criticize Draymond Green for for his opinion on stuff. So a lot of people criticize Draymond Green for his opinion on stuff. Is like Draymond Green, the defensive specialist, man. It's like so that's what he do. If he don't do nothing else, he gonna play defense. And the issue about Rudy Gobert is Rudy Gobert is a shot blocker. That's it. Once you take him out the paint, it's a problem. So y'all seen the post on in the group where Draymond Green was talking about, you know, Rudy Gobert is a good defender, but you know, you put him in a situation and make him uncomfortable. Rudy Gobert is 7'1", 7'2". It's like once you get him out that paint, man, he ain't no athlete like that. He ain't got that kind of quick feet to be moving on the perimeter. And so it becomes a problem for him, man. So you seen how the Clippers took advantage of it every chance. You know, take him off the paint, man. We're gonna put Marcus Morris in the starting line though. Not because Marcus Morris is doing anything spectacular, which he plays solid enough. It's just Marcus Morris is a good enough perimeter player that it forces Rudy Gobert to play him on defense. So he got to come out to the paint. And if you get him out that paint enough, now when you go back in the paint, you can attack him because now he's uncertain. Now he don't know if he needs to go out to the perimeter or he needs to stay in the paint. So you get people like Reggie Jackson, you could just attack him and make him feel like a traffic cop. Now he's just sitting there looking foolish. So they almost saw Rudy Gobert out. It's a bad sign when the defensive player of the year is getting sought out on that end. It's like they taking advantage of him every chance they got, and it's like for Utah, man, if your best defender on the entire team is a center, they're gonna have it's a 7-foot center. It's gonna be a problem because they need some perimeter defense. They got to do more. That's just what it is.
All right, so I wanna start off with the first team. Uh, I want to start off with Mr. I'm gonna call you Giannis. I'm gonna call you Giannis. That's good if I call you Giannis.
Just call me Tycoon, bro.
Tycoon. All right. I'm gonna start off with you, Tycoon. The NBA first team. I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna read them back to you just in case. You forgot. So the first team we got Steph Curry, Luka. We got Giannis, Kawhi, and Jokic. Do you disagree with any of those players on the NBA first team?
I just depend. It depends on the voting system. If it's about winning and production, then I don't believe Steph Curry should have been on there.
All right. What about you, Kobe?
I don't have no quarrels with the first team. I think everybody deserved it.
Well, honestly, I had Randall over Kawhi, but I'm not mad at Kawhi for getting the first team. But I honestly had Randall over Kawhi. That was, if you want to call that an issue, I guess. But what you got, Jared?
I mean, I can understand that one just because of what the Knicks were slated to be. I understand how Randall makes that uptick to get into a first team conversation. You know, it's like you said, it's like, you know, it's nothing to get Kawhi Leonard, really. It's just Randall took a team that nobody expected to even be in the playoffs, to be a top 4 team.
All right. So
with that, if you don't mind, with that, so what's the difference from what you're saying about Randall and a Trae Young over Curry? Like, it's the same, because at least Kawhi made the playoffs.
And I understand how people would make the argument for Trae Young over Steph Curry, but at the same time, it's like, even though the expectations of the Hawks were greatly exceeded this year for where they placed there in the playoffs, I think the expectations for the Warriors, especially considering what they were last year without Curry, and just adding Curry with pretty much the same people from last year, you know, for them to even be in a position to make the playoffs, I think is what raises his stock, I guess, and also helped the fact that, you know, he led the league in scoring, and like the numbers as far as like efficiency wise was through the roof. And that's not nothing against Trae Young, because I mean, he put up big numbers while averaging 9 assists. It's just, I guess it gave you on expectations.
2 reasons: scoring title and seniority.
So
Yes.
you think seniority should get you a pass?
Yeah. When you
Happens all the time.
when you put enough work in and stuff like that, and you accomplish, I don't think you will get treated like anybody else. Like LeBron made second team. I don't think he was the second. He should have been second team.
LeBron should have been on the
But when I
team.
bring in like seniority and like what his legacy is, yeah, like you'll get an extra bump up because of it.
But that's not. This is a yearly award. You feel me? It's not like
Yeah, but you always go in with favorites, right? And expectations. You're a star. So your biggest stars, if they perform, then they gonna get a little bit edge over somebody who just came out of nowhere with no history.
This is true because LeBron James making second team All NBA while only playing 45 games over
that's.
anybody that played more games than produced.
I think LeBron is the greatest player of all time. He's my 4th favorite player. I don't think he should have made a team.
And yet, but to that point, is like, even though he should have made a team, he made it up to seniority. It's like, it's LeBron James. You can't have him not make a NBA team. Even like last year, he played. I mean, not last year, the year before, he played more games with that growing injury after having that growing injury that he did this year and made third team.
This is why
Because what people gonna say is that when he was on the court, he still looked like LeBron for what you want him to do. So it's like, as long as he looked like what you expect somewhat of LeBron during the year, he gonna be a All NBA player.
I don't think it's because of seniority. I think it's because of ratings and favoritism. Like,
But that plays a role.
You need these people to be where they are. You need LeBron happy. So you need LeBron happy. You need Curry happy in order, because that's who bring in majority of your money as far as the NBA, as far as the rest of the players. Because Kevin Durant's not gonna get any seniority.
Well, let's officially move to the second All NBA team.
Okay.
We got Dame Leonard, we got Chris Paul, we got Julius Randle, we got LeBron James, and we got Joel Embiid. Since you was just talking, Tycoon, I'm gonna let you go first on this one as well.
Okay.
What do you not agree with this All NBA second team?
The second team is almost, to me, is the whole. I agree with Randall. I think Randall, like you said, I think Randall should have made second team. I would bump Dame up to the first team. Chris Paul wouldn't have made any of my teams. Who else you said? I of course Embiid. I agree with Embiid. Basically all the guards, from the guard and from LeBron on down. Those 3 players, I don't agree with any of those 3. I think Dame goes up.
Yeah, like y'all said, y'all just touched on LeBron. I think at best LeBron should have been third team at best. Like I wouldn't have been mad if he wouldn't have made a team at all, but I think at best he should have been third team. Uh, like I said about Julius Randle, I think he should have been first team, but they got him second team. Put Kawhi, I'm not mad at that. Uh, as far as Embiid being on second team, and this a beef that I gotta pick in a later topic about being MVP if he would have played enough games, but he didn't. I think that's the only reason he on the second team and that's the MVP because of the games that he missed. And of course I'm Portland. I love Dame and what y'all saying about that seniority stuff about Steph Curry making it over him. I think it's just the fact that Steph Curry had a better season than Dame. I just think Steph Curry had a better season. Team wise, no, but as player wise, I just think Steph Curry had a better season. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if Steph had this is where it gets complicated though, or tricky. So Steph had a better season than Dame, right?
Mm-hmm.
Individually.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Chris Paul only made it had to only make it because of success of a team, because his numbers were
impact. Impact. You add Chris Paul, and all of a sudden they make it into the Western Conference Finals. It's impact.
But this is a regular season award. Like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and they look like contenders this year, and they didn't look like contenders with the same nucleus that they had. So, Booker could score. He couldn't play defense very well, but he could score. He been scoring. He wasn't any better this year than he was any other year. DeAndre Ayton, this is not his first year into the league. Chris Paul, wherever he go, playoff teams. So the correlation of Chris Paul going to your team and you making it, and you also had home court advantage, he is valuable.
Also, even though it's a regular season award, it's like the people make a point of, well, the Suns was already on the rise. Well, yeah, the Suns were already on the rise. However, they were so bad in the regular season that they were able to win every game in the bubble and still not make the play-in tournament. So while they were on the rise, they still wasn't that. And so to go from a fringe playoff team, hopefully, to top two in the Western Conference by just adding Chris Paul, because again, most of the same players, and I think Jay Crowder makes an impact, things like that. But the biggest thing is you add a point guard. What people have been saying about Devin Booker since he got in the league was, man, if you just get a point guard to play with, then his game could go to another level. So when they had Ricky Rubio last year, who is just a assist guy, and he controls the pace of the game, they played like Devin Booker played better. The team wasn't better because it's Rubio. But Rubio,
hey, I just saw somebody in the comments say nobody talk about the bubble unless it's the Lakers. It's because what can you really gain from the bubble for real? Because one of the issues that Portland came into the season with is that in the bubble before the playoffs started, they look like a completely different team. So just as good as Phoenix was in the bubble, Portland was just as good. You get to the regular season, Portland disappointed again. Right. So it's like when you look at the bubble, it's like certain teams, like, did it rarely translate over the success-wise? I think it's just random. I don't think it was an indication of what teams were like on the way or who wasn't on the way.
I know it's Suns fans in the group, and I'm pretty sure they'll probably know more. They probably followed the Suns more than me. Last year, when healthy, before Ayton got the suspension with whatever he did, they were like 12-5. They had a great record. When he came back, they had a great record. They were a good team last year. They didn't play. You take Chris Paul off this team, are they in the conference finals? Probably not. They make the playoffs. This Suns team makes the playoff without Chris Paul.
Maybe. There's no definitive to that, because we've seen them play really well and not make the playoffs last year.
Because missed like 25, 30 games.
Hold on. So, hey, shout out to
Carter.
John Rich. Shout out to John Rich because he also points this out a lot, and I don't think the group pay attention. The addition of Jay Crowder to the Suns helped as well. Jay Crowder, that energy he brings to the Suns, and y'all seen it in the first round when he was trolling LeBron or whatever. I don't know if he won that matchup actually, but Jay Crowder brings something to the Suns that the Suns didn't have last year, that the Heat didn't have this year.
Yes. He
Yeah,
got to
and then he
next
a
round, so
playoff
he
vet
won that.
too. He's somebody who like not only has he had a lot of playoff battles with LeBron, so that's something that he like willing to take the challenge on or whatever. But it's like just kind of staying in his role where he not trying to do too much. He just try to get a team what they need, and sometimes that's what you need to like kind of take your team over. So I do think that Jay Crowder, going to the team was a big help. But it's like looking over the course of his career, he's not that big of a changer where it's like he take teams who not playoff teams to playoff teams.
Right. He's an important piece, but is he he's a difference maker down the stretch. So if you need somebody to do the dirty work in the playoffs and guard the other team's best player, he has the size and versatility to do it while also maintaining a certain level of intensity and professionalism as far as what he brings to the team, because he never really deviates outside of his role. Like, he's not a person that's like, ooh, I hit a couple of shots this game, so I'm gonna start taking 15 shots a game. Like, none of that. I hit a couple of shots this game. Next game, I'm still not gonna take more than the typical amount of shots that I take, but I'm gonna play within my role. It's always good to have a player like Jay Crowder, who is constantly staying in his role, but excelling at it while he doesn't. So yeah,
I think Jay Crowder almost like Marcus Morris Sr., but Marcus Morris Sr. might be a little bit better offensively. But like the kind of roles that they could play for a team, I think they kind of a little bit alike.
I think Jay Crowder is more important because he can guard more positions.
I think he guards more positions
effectively. He can guard them more effectively. Like,
yes,
he can guard the guard position a little better than Marcus.
I could agree with that. I ain't gonna argue with that.
But back to CP3. I don't take nothing away from CP3. I think he's a top 10 point guard of all time. A lot of the times when he goes to a team outside of the Hornets, which the Hornets built a great team around him, though people don't, especially in that era where it wasn't 3-4 people in that prime playing together. When he went to the Clippers was already on the rise. Like Blake Griffin and Eric Gordon had.
No, he wasn't.
They weren't on the rise?
No.
Yes, they were. They went from not like being the worst team to Blake Griffin and Eric Gordon. I think had him in the 9th seed. Like, of course, if you add a caliber player of him, he's gonna get them a little over the. He's not the only one that went over there as well. There was others that went over there with him. You got the Karan Butlers and etc. Like, you can take certain players, like for instance, the Nets. The Nets were in the playoffs last year, but none of these guys. You add Kevin Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, you're supposed to win a championship. It was the AC.
They're not even the same players on the same team, no. The players that made the playoffs for the Nets last year, I don't think like really half of that team, and especially the ones who played minutes, not even on that team anymore.
Joe Harris.
Got Spencer Dinwiddie, of course, but he
not playing. He hasn't played.
They traded most of the team to James Harden. Most of the team that was on the team was traded for James Harden. But the point I'm like, CP3 goes in good position. Like, he doesn't go in positions where CP3 goes to teams where not to go stack a team up, but hey, let me help y'all get over the hump. And I'm not saying he doesn't do it, but those teams are already built to win. They just need that extra person, and he becomes that extra.
I'll ask this question though. From that Clippers team that Chris Paul was the point guard for. Once they all left, what did they do?
I didn't hear you, bro. It was kind of like windy. I'm sorry.
I said once Chris Paul left the Clippers, what did any of those players from the Clippers do?
They went back to the play.
DeAndre Jordan left and played for what 4 teams in a matter of like 2 years. He went to Dallas and New York, and then he ended up in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Blake Griffin went to Detroit and played well, mind you, and they made the playoffs the first year he was dead. But then those knee injuries crept back up on him, and then he ended up getting hurt the following year and sat the year after that. Outside of those 2 players, everybody else on that Clippers team either not in the league or they have been to several teams that are not relevant currently. When
Drew Bledsoe went on and played for the Bucks, and he went to the conference finals and things of that nature. You got
he disappeared. That's what people hate about Bledsoe.
He disappeared. Bledsoe went to the Suns and was putting up numbers.
But let me ask this though, because it's almost like it's almost fair to say that his impact is just part of the trajectory. Like a team already going up, it's almost like he just caught a ride up. If you want to say that, if Chris Paul would have played for the Pelicans, would they made the playoffs this year? Because it looked like a lot of promise last year. So if they would have went to but did they make the playoffs this year?
If Chris Paul would have went to the Pelicans, who you asking? You asking that to Tycoon?
Yeah, if Chris Paul would have went to the Pelicans, because last year the Pelicans looked almost as promising. Like if they just had one piece or something that's gonna bring them to the next level.
I think that's what I'm saying. I do think Chris Paul. I'm not knocking Chris Paul, bro. I think Chris Paul does get you over the hump. Those type of teams. What I'm saying is, like you said, they are a promising team. He's going. It's not like he's not finna go. Chris Paul is not finna go to the
OKC.
OKC.
When he brought them to the playoffs when they were supposed to be rebuilding, right?
They've been saying that about OKC since Durant left, and they've been making the playoffs. They said when he left, the year they had them as the worst team in the league. Westbrook had them with a 48-34 record. The Clippers
they made it past the 6 seed once.
Huh?
They made it in those 3 years since Kevin Durant left with Russell Westbrook. They made it past the 6 seed once, where they made it to the 4th seed. And the only reason why this is the 4th seed is because they was like a 3-way tie with like Minnesota, the Pelicans, and somebody else or whatever, and they in Utah or something. And I think they had the tiebreaker over Utah, even
I'm not saying the expectations that people were putting on the Thunder. I didn't see that. They had got a great core of players that helped the Clippers. Almost. You remember the year before that, before Tobias Harris trade, the Clippers was a top 2 or 3 seed. So you get Shaqiri, you get Alexander, you get Gallinari, and then you get a handful of people for the Westbrook trade, and you still got the core of people that was playing for the Thunder. You have a mix of 3 good teams with a great leader in Chris Paul, which he is. I felt like they would make the playoffs. Like I didn't.
Outside of Shaq,
that's a great point. That's a great point, Tycoon. That's a great point. That is a great point.
Like I didn't not counsel them out.
So
you talking about because the core got traded, so the core is the same?
I'm saying
no.
That,
He's saying. Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead, bro.
No, I think he was saying that the fact that they got players for Paul George, they got good players for Westbrook, and then you add Chris Paul into that mix. That's a pretty
and
solid.
You still keep the core that was surrounding Westbrook and Paul George. Like they didn't go nowhere.
Yeah,
then Adams. I'm talking about you still kept Adams, and you still kept the good players that was around them. Like
Steven Adams and who else?
You had
wasn't it Schroeder? Schroeder was already on that team. No, I can't remember.
Yes, you had Schroeder. Schroeder was already on that team. He was like what 6th man of the year last year, wasn't it?
He was a finalist. He was a finalist.
You had Schroeder. Yeah, I forgot. Montrez won last year.
Let me ask you a question. If Chris Paul doesn't make 2nd team, then who's over?
On 2nd team?
Yeah.
I think that's what Curry should. I mean, I swapped them basically.
Well, I mean, no, you
okay, you're right. Trae Young. I got Trae Young on my 2nd team. He gave you 25, 9, 10, and the 4th, 5th seed. He made the playoffs. He
So
hasn't made a team.
why doesn't a player like Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell make it over Trae Young?
Well, I will give you. I'll take that too. Like, cause I don't see why Devin. I think Donovan Mitchell should have. I don't. Well, when we get to third team, I'll talk about that. But I think Donovan Mitchell could. That's a good point too.
I have a point about Donovan Mitchell, but I also wait until we get to the third team.
I mean, I would take that. I would take a Donovan Mitchell on the second team, a deep book. Me personally, I would have said, like I said, I would have said Trae Young, but I would take all of that on the second team, in my opinion.
All right. So
Jay, I gotta put mine on the charge.
So let me. So who doesn't agree with Chris Paul? I agree with Chris Paul being on the second team. Tycoon, you the only one that don't agree, correct?
I think I'm probably the only one that don't agree.
All right. So let's move on to the third team. I'm glad y'all mentioned Donovan Mitchell because he wasn't on the third team.
And not to cut you off, who did you have replacing LeBron? Nobody said who they had.
I had Paul George. I thought Paul George should have been
I had Paul George.
I had Paul George.
Yeah.
I had Tatum.
I'll take either.
Hey, I told him that the other day. I think Tatum should have made at least third team.
And I'll take Jason Tatum over Jimmy Butler, but we're gonna get the third team second.
So the third team, we're gonna break it off because there's a lot going on the third team that probably needs to be changed. We're gonna start with the guards: Bradley Beal and Kyrie Irving. I said on the past podcast, you either could put Bill or Westbrook. You can't put both of them, but one of them gotta make it. So I actually agree because, like I said, you couldn't put both of them. You couldn't put both of them.
Right. You
had to put at least one of them. And I think Bill, averaging 30 again this year because last year he averaged 30. He didn't make the playoffs, he didn't make an All-Star team or our NBA team, but he averaged 31 this year. So I think putting him on the third team is good. And then you got Kyrie. What's interesting about Kyrie, if you compare him and Donovan Mitchell, his numbers are better across the board. Points, rebounds, assists, shooting percentage as well. So, Donovan Mitchell, he's just in a bad spot because he technically is the best player on the best team in the NBA. He technically is. But since the guard position is so deep, I actually don't have a problem with him missing the All NBA team. What's your thoughts on the guard position? I'm gonna start out with you, Colby, on this one.
Man, it's been like that for years though. Like I've been saying about the All-Star game. In the West, you can only have two guards, and it's always like it's so crowded. So it's like the same thing with the All NBA teams, man. It's like, man, that guard spot's so interchangeable. Like it got about 10 guards that should have been like all team. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like for me, Kyrie was an automatic because it's like with Brooklyn, he's been the most consistent out of the big three as far as being in the lineup in the regular season. Bradley Beal is like, I understand people like Bradley Beal like that, but they had too many other people. I felt like he could have been over. I don't feel like he a big enough face to where it's like his popularity automatically put him over people. So it's like I would have like probably left Bradley Beal off and put like Trae Young on there.
All right, what you think?
The guard.
As far as guard, I don't know exactly how many Kyrie games he played, but I feel like it wasn't enough.
I can tell you it on. Kyrie played 54 games.
Yeah, I would have took both of them off. I think Westbrook should make it over Bill, especially. I don't know if I'm not saying I am pretty Westbrook biased, but another year with a triple double. When they made a late run, his win shares were higher than Bill. Maybe if Bill would have actually won the Super Bowl, then it would have made a bigger impact. But he came in second, he lost it. They didn't make the playoffs last year. Which was Westbrook and Kyrie. Like I said, I would have gave it to Donovan. I mean, like you say, it's as much of a jump as the Suns had. The Utah Jazz had big of a jump, and I know he played a big role in that as being the best player. So that probably would be my two.
All right, what you think, Jared?
I am with whatever other guards you may want to throw in there because everybody had valuable arguments to be made. However, I am a fan of Bradley Beal making the team only because I'm a fan of him making over Westbrook in particular. And that's not anything against Westbrook individually, but the whole narrative this year was about the team surrounding Westbrook and the help that he didn't have. And the interesting part about that is Russell Westbrook got traded to Bradley Beal's team. So Bradley Beal didn't get that he didn't get that argument made for him. People just like Bradley Beal, all he's doing is scoring and blah blah blah, and Washington not that. Everybody else gets their argument but Bradley Beal. So it was Westbrook like, oh, Russell Westbrook doesn't have enough help. Look who he's playing with. It's like they weren't terribly great with just Westbrook. They needed Bradley Beal as well. And so I think what boosted his argument is last year he had that same team and they were not a playoff team. You add Westbrook, now Bradley Beal has some help, so to speak, and he's still putting up these ridiculous numbers. Now we got to show some respect to Bradley Beal. The only reason why I say he made it over a person like Donovan Mitchell is, and I was telling my brother this, it's like Donovan Mitchell not making an All-NBA team has little to do with the other guards and everything to do with where he's playing. Donovan Mitchell had really good numbers, and he was the driving force, in my opinion, of the Utah Jazz. However, all the attention kept going on Rudy Gobert. Oh, he's the defensive player of the year. He's a defensive anchor. And so it's almost like people made it like where Utah was centered around Rudy Gobert, even though people knew better and people never said that publicly, but they made so much of a fuss about Rudy Gobert this year that it really hampered the attention that Donovan Mitchell got, and so he didn't get the proper respect.
The media painting the narrative.
Happy Father's Day, Pop.
All the time. Yeah, the media paints the narrative all the time, and I think that's what hurt Donovan Mitchell not making the team at all because they put so much on Rudy Gobert and his importance to the team. It's like, oh, they're a top 5 defense because of Rudy Gobert, and they're doing because of Rudy Gobert, but Utah would be where they are. Had Mitchell not been put up the numbers he was putting. So what hurt his argument is the fact that they put too much attention on Gobert, which when the playoffs came, we seen that was a terrible idea. So I'm good with Bradley Beal, and I'm good with Kyrie Irving because he averaged 27 points on 50, 40, 90 shooting. And as much of a deal as they made about the big three, he played the most games out of all of them. And so that goes back to the impact and the seniority complex argument thing. And it's like, again, with the it's an argument that hurts Trae Young. And it's like, it's nothing against Trae Young individually. But if a player like Kyrie Irving is putting up 50, 40, 90, being primarily a jump shooter, averaging 50% from the field and shooting over 40% from the line, and especially as much talk that was had about Kyrie Irving negatively in the media and across the group and across other fan bases, the fact that his play wasn't affected by any of that, as much as people was like, oh, it's a distraction, Stephen A. Smith, he should retire, and blah, blah, blah. It never affected what he did on the court. And so I think that's how he got on that team, is because of that.
the piggyback off what you said, the thing about Utah is I do think Donovan Mitchell is the best player on the team, but he's not the most impactful. Rudy Gobert is the most impactful. That's because you have other players that can do what Donovan Mitchell do on the team. Probably not to the standard that he does it, but you have other players. You know, you got Clarkson can come in, can drop you anywhere from 20 to 30 on any given night. Can't nobody on the else team do what Rudy Gobert do. Not one person. Like, you take him out the team, ain't nobody finna protect the rim. Ain't nobody.
I think that's a valid point. To a certain extent, and it's kind of like what I was telling my brother the other day. It's like with Donovan Mitchell as opposed to the other guards, Donovan Mitchell never really separated himself.
Hey Jared, let me shout out John Rich. Let me shout out John Rich right quick. John Rich made a post in a group about Donovan Mitchell. Switch him and CJ McCollum, you're gonna basically get the same thing. If you put CJ McCollum in Utah, you're gonna get the same thing. So is Donovan Mitchell really that special?
I don't think you get the same thing. I think what we've seen from Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs, I don't think we've seen that from CJ McCollum is consistent enough to say you could get the same thing. I do agree with Tycoon to a certain extent that you can get players who do similar things that Donovan Mitchell does because he's a tremendous scorer. He does it in a number of ways. And so to that point, I agree. Can you switch a player like CJ McCollum with Donovan Mitchell? I don't think so. I think there are a number of guards across the NBA that can do what Donovan Mitchell's doing. Because we've seen Ja Morant put up crazy numbers in the playoffs in their first round. However, I just think the narrative surrounding Donovan Mitchell is like, when you talk about Steph Curry, he led the league in scoring. When you talk about Damian Lillard, he was putting shots in from the logo consistently. When you talk about Kyrie Irving, 50, 40, 90, averaging 25, averaging 27 points. Chris Paul, man, at his age, and he was making this type of impact. All these different guards you can make these arguments for, and you could point out specifically something big that they were doing. Donovan Mitchell never really was a separation from that pack of people. You knew he was playing well, but nothing stood out great.
I think Donovan Mitchell above average. I don't want to get it twisted. I don't think like he average. I think he above average, but I just think he's slightly above average. I don't think he like just an average type score. I don't think everybody could just do what he does. But as far as the success of your team, yeah, you could probably get somebody else to bring in 25 or 30 with that kind of green light.
Yeah, CJ averaged 23, and he got Dame on his team. you know what I'm saying? Shooting.
But I don't think CJ will handle the pressure the same. I don't think Donovan Mitchell fold under pressure though. I think he tired himself out and he forced stuff, but I don't think that like he crumble under pressure.
Another thing Donovan does, he does take, even if he's not a great defender, he takes the challenge. He's going to go guard the other guard.
I agree with that.
And I don't think CJ's not doing it. Like, you put CJ, he's probably going to run from the better guard, and if he do go guard him, he's going to get torched.
We've seen that in play.
Hey, all right, got y'all. Hey, but so do everybody agree on the two guards, or we got something different? I agree with the two guards actually.
It floats. I agree with him, but the argument can be made.
I'm not mad at it, but I would have picked two different people. But like you said, I'm not mad at it. I'm like it's not like why these two got picked. Like I said, the LeBron, CP3. I feel like was just like you said. I don't.
And I still would have kept Kyrie, but for Bradley Beal, for any argument I could have gave any other guard, Bradley Beal could have had the same argument to replace them too.
Yeah.
I can give you a different argument. I can't give you a better argument for another guard. That's the best way I could put it.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go to the forwards. I'm going to start with the forwards. Now, since I said that LeBron is an at best third team, I do have him on the third team. Reason why, because I'm gonna agree because at first I didn't have Jason Tatum, but when I thought about it, looked at it, Jason Tatum, I got him on the third team. So it comes down to LeBron James or Jimmy Butler. And across the board, I mean, even though LeBron played 45 games, Jimmy Butler played 52. I mean, it's not that big a difference. LeBron numbers are crushes his numbers. And the Lakers were what a 3 seed before LeBron got hurt. I can't remember. Was it a 3 seed? Was it a 2 seed? What it was? I don't remember.
I just know they was home court.
What's up?
I just know they was like top 4, like home court advantage going into the playoffs. I know they was there.
So I got LeBron and Tatum and Gobert. He there because you got to put him there. I mean, what other center you gonna put there? I mean, AD was classified as another you could put as a big guy, but he missed a ton of games or whatever. So I think you got to put Gobert there. You have to have a Jazz player on the All NBA team. That's just facts. You have to have a Jazz player on the All NBA team. So I got LeBron, Tatum, and Gobert. What you're saying, Tycoon?
I mean, for future references, I think that they just like they need to do instead of doing 2 small forwards, they need to. I mean, small forward, power forward. I feel like the 3 spots. It should be 2 spots for power forward, center, big type players, and then small forward, wing down. Like you know what I'm saying. If it's 3 great small forwards, they should all make the first team.
You talking about like the All-Star game where they have backcourt and front court?
Yeah, backcourt, front court. That's what they need to do because it's.
Which I was confused about too, because I thought LeBron was a point guard.
he is, but they changed. They have been the rules for who they want to bend the rules for. They bent the rules for Anthony Davis not too long ago when he ran power forward the whole year, but somehow he made first team on center. Was that last year? Yeah, last year he didn't run center at all, but he made first team for center. But I feel like that's what they should do, because I mean, like you said, when you really look at it, I guess you're gonna pick LeBron over Jimmy Butler.
That was a consolation prize.
Yes.
They was like, man, we saw what you did in the bubble with the Heat, and nobody expected that.
And that was me.
Hey, Jimmy Butler got it. Jimmy Butler got it because he made an all-defense team, which I was surprised by that too. But he got the third team over players he might have should not have got it over because they looked at it like, oh, he only played 50-something games and still made an all-defense team. He's an all-NBA player. I wouldn't take him over Jason Tatum, though. But I also would put Jason Tatum over LeBron James. So I put LeBron at third at best because I just know you got to have LeBron on the team. But Jason Tatum, people was like, oh, but Jason Tatum, their team ended 36-36. It's like, not because of Jason Tatum. It's like, Walker only played 40-some games. Marcus Smart played 40-some games. Jaylen Brown missed the end of the season. It's like, everybody gets a pass for having injuries on their team, but the players that people don't want to give a pass to. It's like, if LeBron James gets a pass for being injured himself, which Tatum was, along with other players on his team being hurt, if any other body else gets a pass from injuries, it's like, even to a certain extent, Damian Lillard gets a pass, even if people don't acknowledge him as publicly as LeBron James for having injuries on his team. It's like, Jason Tatum got to do that type of respect, man. It's like, he had injuries on his team, and he still
Zion. There you go. That's who I had.
I could take Zion, but I also understand why he don't make it.
He had a historic season, and if you're gonna let Curry and them make it for not winning, you can't pick and I don't like to pick and choose. That's me personally.
But the Warriors at least made it to the play-in tournament. The Pelicans was out of it 5 games left, 6 games left in the season. And even then, they were mathematically in it, but they've been out of it for a while.
Okay.
It's like, I get it. I like Zion, and he had the numbers to back it up. But I understand why you wouldn't put him over. Again, Jason Tatum should have had that spot.
No, I had Jason in my second. I had Paul George staying in third, me personally.
Paul George and Tatum should have been all NBA teams. Jimmy Butler was free, And LeBron James shouldn't have made it at all, but at the best,
I don't feel
he
like
should
LeBron
only
should
do
have made it at all. Facts. I think
so.
All
I
right,
don't know.
what about you, Kobe?
Huh?
What you think of the forward spots?
On the third team, like I said, the only thing really I would have changed, I would have had Jason Tatum in there over Jimmy Butler, and that's probably about it. I can't really argue too much about the forward spot like that on the third team.
I get you. I get you. Well, look, y'all ready to start review these game sixes and get into these NBA playoffs, bro?
Let's do it.
We're gonna start out. We're gonna start out with the first game six that happened the other night. I actually just watched this game today because I was driving 15 hours. And I drove 15 hours in the span of 24 hours. So yeah, I just got a chance to watch the game. Brooklyn and Milwaukee, game six. Uh, Tycoon, the floor is yours.
Well, I knew this was gonna happen. So now I just now, but honestly, well, everybody wants Giannis to improve his shooting when that's not the case. You need you every player has a weakness. I don't. Some people weakness are better than more. Easier to exploit than others. But when you got Middleton hitting his shots like that, and then you got Holiday stepping up, you can't pack that paint. Every time Giannis touches the ball, at least 3 or 4 defenders have their foot in the paint in the restricted area, around in the paint or restricted area. So when they get to making those shots, it opens it up for them. And if that can happen, continue to happen like he did in game six, that's majority of the reason why they won. You got Harden out there on one leg. He gave you. I really applaud Harden. For to even be trying to play. He give you more than he can for the first half, and then the second half he's burnt out. He was really burnt out. And then you have Joe Harris and I think he's due for a big game, actually. But Joe Harris and Jeff Green, they're not giving you that same intensity on the road as they're giving you at home. And like KD can only do so much. And I noticed this too. I will for all the KD fans. He doesn't get the foul on the road. He's shooting like 2 to 3 free throws minimum. I know that's not going to happen at home.
I think that's spot on. I think that's spot on mostly because the criticism for Giannis, I think, is greatly exaggerated. Should he be criticized for his lack of jump shot? Sure. Should he be criticized to the degree that people like the Kendrick Perkins of the world are criticizing his jump shot? No, because after the first 2 games, you got people like Kendrick Perkins and things like that. Oh, this is a proven game for Giannis, and if he doesn't make it, then I don't want to hear no more talk about this, that, and the third. Like Giannis has only been like the Giannis we know, like within like the last like 4 years, 4 or 5 years maybe, and he made it to the conference final 2 years ago. It's like as much credit as we give to other players, they didn't make the conference finals. It's like we raised these other players. It's like he managed to make it to the conference final. And even then, people criticize their series against Toronto, where they was like, "Oh man, they stopped Giannis and blah blah blah." No, they didn't. No, Giannis still dominated their series. Nobody else showed up. Bledsoe didn't do anything. Chris Middleton didn't do
Average
anything.
13 points. Chris Middleton averaged 13 points a game that series. 13.5 to be exact.
Like Brooke Lopez didn't give you the same type of intensity. A lot of people on that team provided nothing in that series to the point where Giannis had to do everything. And you look at the bubble, Giannis had to do everything again, and then he hurt his ankle and he don't play the last 2 games. And so I don't really put like a lot of stock in those seasons because everybody wants to win now, and I think that's dangerous, and that's what makes everybody jump ship to all these different star teams, and then those same fans who criticize them at their homes at the team that they were on, I'll go criticize them for joining forces. It's like y'all got to pick a battle. Shout out to you though, Tycoon, because we had this back and forth on the comments about the Bucks having a breakout game because they 3-point percentages, and to the point that you made about Joe Harris is like, this is last chance to have a breakout game. This is your moment. You ain't got to put up nothing huge, but you got to do better than what you've been doing.
Facts.
The last 2 years and 3-point percentages, you got to give me something because he's getting good looks and they're not falling, and you got to do something. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Like, Kevin Durant numbers in Game 7, he averages like 33 points on 53% from the 3-point line, 55% from the free throw line. I mean, from the field. It's like his numbers in Game 7 is absurd. So I'm expecting KD to have a spectacular Game 7. It depends on what James Harden does. They said James Harden in the shoot around before last game was moving better. And I think he did move better in that last game, but he's still hesitant on driving. But I don't want him to get hurt, but he got to put it all on the line tonight. It's like, if you think you can drive, go for it. And if you come up higher, then you gave your best effort. But he got to go for it. This is an elimination game. You got to go for it. And that's just what it is. And it's like, you got to get that same impact from everybody else. And to the point you made, the free throw shooting percentages, that's something that, because of this going to a Game 7, because of the game, nobody talks about it. But the free throw discrepancy in the series is absurd. The fact that KD and all these players are playing in the paint and they still not getting foul calls, is like, I understand the narrative that surrounds complaining about the officials, but the fact that Kevin Durant is not shooting that many free throws as many times he was going to end up on the ground, the fact that Blake Griffin is going in the paint and he's getting to the ground and he's not getting foul calls, I think it's absurd that the free throw percentages are not what they are. And also about free throws, it's like, I don't like the fact that last series, because attention was brought to it, that they started to call that 10-second violation, but they don't do it consistently, because Giannis is consistently over 10 seconds. And it's like, if you're going to call it some games, play all games. And that's all I ask. It's like, if you're going to call it, he takes a long time every single time. So call it every time.
So let me just go on record. I think Giannis a great player. I think between top 10, top 5 and top 10. The only thing that I had a debate with you, Tycoon, when it comes to Giannis, he's just not KD.
I think he's better than KD.
No. He's not. He's not KD. The reason why he's not KD. I mean, Giannis is a great defender. KD is a good defender. KD is a
decent defender. He's a decent defender.
KD is an out of this world offensive player, though.
And so is Giannis.
No. This is the difference between KD and the rest of the world. The rest of anybody that ever played in the NBA. This is the big difference. You can put KD in any offensive system in the world. Yes, you can. No, you can put him in any offensive system. Tell me a system you can't put him in.
OKC without Westbrook.
What you mean?
Okay,
he was MVP. He was MVP that year when Westbrook got hurt. He was MVP.
Okay, and Giannis has been MVP every year. We're talking about the playoffs right now, right?
No. But you just name a system. I'm saying
we're talking about the system as far as because if you're going to go by regular season, then Giannis has 2 MVPs.
What you mean? We talking about Kevin Durant. I mean, you can't win the championship every year, but I'm
not talking about the championship. He couldn't win. He couldn't even shoot 40%. Like
he got the second round. I mean, Giannis never got put out in the second. Giannis never got put out in the second round.
I'm saying in the first round.
Did Giannis get put out in the first round by Toronto?
Westbrook played the first round.
Tycoon, you're a LeBron fan, huh?
No, My favorite player is Kobe. I am. LeBron is my fourth favorite player of all time. Yeah.
I don't know if I go to 4. Hey, but look, okay, KD, you say Giannis has been put out in the first round before by Toronto. They lost 4. They lost 4-2. Yes, they did.
He didn't lose. No, they got put out in the conference finals. Giannis made the playoffs.
No. Go look it up right now. In a year, Milwaukee, they lost to DeMar DeRozan in the first round before. Go look it up right now. Go look it up. They lost to DeMar DeRozan. So KD, he has got put out in the first round just like Giannis. He also hold on.
I'm listening to you.
Like I said,
he lost to Boston. He lost to Boston in Game 7 the year that they went to the conference finals. Then the final year he went to the conference finals. Then he lost.
KD lost in the first round against the Lakers. They lost 4-2. Is that correct, Jared and Kobe? I know y'all Lakers fan.
Yeah, I'm not blaming him for that. He was 20 years old. KD was 20 years old. We're talking about 24, 25-year-old KD is MVP 25. What? Was he 24, 25 is MVP year?
I don't remember.
I think he's 25. His MVP year. He's 24. Now, this is what you compare.
I'm talking about skill set. I'm talking about skill set. KD offensive skill set.
He's more skilled as a scorer than Giannis, but that don't make you
better.
But
look, this is what I'm saying. You can put. Hold on, Jared. Hold on.
What makes you better?
Well, what's up, Lloyd Gamer? What's up? Shout out to Lloyd Gamer.
I can look at this. David Robinson is way more skilled than Shaquille O'Neal. He's not better. He's way more skilled than Shaquille O'Neal. David Robinson is skill set compared to Shaq's. He's way more skilled. He's not better. He's not a better player.
Shaq is also
he had more elements to his game, but he's not as dominant. Is what you're saying about David Robinson and Shaq.
If you give Giannis Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, you can't keep your foot in that thing, he might average 40-70%.
I don't do the kind of fantasy things. So like if you put such and such with this person, that automatically means.
But look, hold on. But look,
KD before the Warriors is KD with no NBA all-time All-Star team. I think he won one playoff game. When Westbrook got hurt, they looked horrible.
Westbrook by himself looks horrible. Like he looks out of control. He looks like he can't control tempo. And a lot of games they would have won the playoffs if Russell Westbrook knew how to slow the ball down and to run a set offense.
Hold on. So look, check this out. So KD, like I was saying, you could put him in any offensive system. Like I said, how many players could go to Golden State and Klay Thompson still average 20, Steph still average his, Draymond Green is still effective, and KD is effective. KD, how many players you could put in that system, and all those other players are still going to be effective?
You know what else you got to take into account too, though, when you talk about the offensive system. Golden State played two different offensive ways when Kevin Durant was there. They had times where they ran a full offense, where it was ball moving and everything. And sometimes it was like, we all cold. KD, go get us a bucket. So it went straight to isolation.
Kevin Durant plays one style of basketball. Kevin Durant plays one style of basketball. Both teams are ball around him because he's that good.
Giannis also plays one style.
Then LeBron plays one type of basketball that revolves around him.
That's what I'm saying. You're not implementing him in a system. The system is that player. That's what I'm. You're not.
No.
But what I'm saying is, how we gonna say that you're not as good because the system revolves around you? If they got to change a whole system for you to fit in, that means that you're better. They feel like you're better than the system that they currently have in place. So if you saying that the thing is, when he went to Golden State, they changed the offensive system, then that whole look, he had to go join this team. No, they changed it because of him then. He's so great. A winning team had to change their whole way of playing basketball for him then. If that's the narrative we go run with.
And it backfired on him in the conference finals, and Steve Kerr pulled him to the side and said, "Hey, we not playing this style no more. We're gonna lose."
When?
He told him, he said, "You got to move the ball more." It's the whole. He went on. Kevin Durant has to move the ball more. He was mad about it.
Wait. Who they play?
You talking about Houston?
They play Houston. Kevin Durant has to move the ball more.
When he got hurt, right?
No, not when he got hurt. That was the year that Chris Paul got hurt.
Oh, so we talking about when they played the Raptors?
I just seen Blake in the he doesn't need more than 15 shots. He only takes 17 shots a game, and he averages 30. So I don't know where you're getting that narrative from.
And all he does is play downhill. He can't shoot the same way Kevin Durant does.
Like, that's what I'm telling you. When you're good at something, you don't have to change it. Like Kevin Durant can score in multiple. Put like this. Carmelo, I know you love Carmelo. Ward. Carmelo can score in way more ways than LeBron. Right? He's not a better scorer. Like LeBron is going to give you. LeBron is going to.
Hold on.
Are you saying LeBron a better scorer than Carmelo Anthony?
LeBron is going to score more than Carmelo on less shot attempts nightly. If they have an 82-game season, year in, year out, LeBron is going to average more points in their prime, and he's going to do it with less shot attempts.
Not by a wide margin, because Carmelo Anthony.
What I'm not saying is by margin. He's going to, whether it's 1 point or 0.1, he's going to do it more, and he with less weight. You know, LeBron only going to score 1 or 2 ways. Carmelo can score every.
So if you're only limited to 1 or 2 ways, how does that make you better than a person that can do it multiple ways?
Aspects to the game is scoring.
Hey, I like to bring this point up when people compare Melo and LeBron when scoring. My favorite Carmelo Anthony game ever when they played Miami, where he scored 50 points without scoring a basket in the paint. To me, that's if you want to say LeBron a better scorer, because
here's the thing. LeBron James is a fantastic scorer. However, we know LeBron James scores primarily a certain type of way. A lot of his points come at the basket. A lot of his points come in the paint. The reason why Kevin Durant scoring is so tremendous and why people make such a big deal about it is because he is primarily a jump shooter and still somehow shooting 50% from the field. You're not supposed to be primarily a jump shooter shooting that higher of a percentage.
But
and so
he got Carmelo's skill set with LeBron efficiency at that point. So you blended like the best of the world to score, and he's efficient.
Okay, and he's a very efficient scorer. I'm not saying I feel like he's the best scorer in the league, and he's playing with the best offensive player in the league in Harden. I feel like Harden's the best offensive player. He's the best scorer. I'm not knocking it. I'm telling you, it's more to the game. He doesn't set great screens. He's not a elite. He does have games where he goes off with rebounds, but he's not an elite rebounder. He's not even in the top. You probably can name 40, 50 people that can actually just run the offense on a consistent better than him in the league.
Why are we talking about Kevin Durant running screens?
That's a part of basketball. That's what I'm telling you. That's everything that you're naming.
Why would you have Kevin Durant running screens though? That's what I'm saying.
LeBron James set screens for Kyrie in the finals.
LeBron is 270 pounds. I hope he set screens.
Bro,
he is the size of a power forward like Karl Malone, and he plays guard position.
Brown is setting screens for them. Hold on, look at this. The dude Brown that plays for them has been setting screens, and it's been working. It was working with Kyrie. Brown was setting screens. I know his screens should not be more effective than Kevin Durant.
He's a utility guy.
That's what I'm saying. When you're a hustle player, you do things like set screens, dive for loose balls, and have effort plays.
But when you play basketball, if you can make yourself vital in any point, you become more of a. If Kevin Durant is setting,
bro, nobody cares if Travis Kelce can block. Nobody cares if Travis Kelce can block. Like, I know this is football, but it's like he's such an elite receiver. Nobody is going to question his blocking. When you a scorer, nobody is really.
Travis Kelce is a great blocker.
I'm just saying.
Nobody cares if he blocks.
Nobody cares.
A real football players is going to notice stuff like that. They're going to be like, "Hey, bro, you
think shoot. So he can set screens, but he can't shoot.
But he can't shoot, but he's going to get you 30 regardless. He's scored 30 more than Kevin Durant has in this playoff.
Kevin Durant won't set screens,
and he's way more efficient.
Who's more efficient?
Giannis. Shooting the ball only keep giving you. He's doing layups 90% of his shots.
He's shooting 50% from the line. He's shooting terrible from the field and terrible from 3-point. That doesn't make him more efficient.
bro. I mean, your field goal percentage is your efficiency, right? Is there any other efficiency, or is it just?
Yeah.
So hold on. So what I think what they're trying to say is, it looks like Giannis is efficient at the end of the day because he gets a lot of buckets in the paint.
That's all that matters. You're one of you. Look, what I'm telling you, Ward, is you care about where you score. I care about
No,
you.
I don't care. I'm
not
just
you
saying.
in general. Not you in general. I'm just saying, like if I give you if me and Jared both have a bit, like you say I got 5 businesses, right, Jared? And you got 1 business. Your 1 business make $1 million. My 5 businesses make $1 million combined. Your 1 business is still doing just as good as my 5 businesses. It doesn't matter. You're still giving me the same production as point. They're both.
Okay, look, check this out. Hold on, Jared. Check this out. Giannis, when he won his first MVP, he played like 30 minutes a game. Like, he didn't play a lot of minutes a game.
No,
he played because Milwaukee would blow everybody out. So Giannis would be sitting out a lot in the fourth quarter. But when those close games happen, Milwaukee, that's when they struggle. When close game, that's when they struggle. If they didn't blow teams out, and it goes all the way to Giannis' first MVP year. If they didn't blow teams out, they struggle. What's up, Kobe?
But this is what I want to say about that point that he made about his 1 business and the 5 businesses, right?
Yeah.
Are we talking about in 1 year or a couple of years? Because check this out. Say like his 1 business was a restaurant that was booming. During COVID, when everything shut down, that restaurant business gone. Now he got 4 other businesses that can still thrive in that. The problem is with Giannis, you can say like overall percentage-wise, he's efficient. But once they build that wall and they needed a basket down in the clutch, he don't have a jump shot. So
that's
you need more ways.
Huh? It's not his job.
Okay, it's not his job because he can't right now. So they're not going to point him to that job.
That's like
all I'm saying is that it's cool to be efficient. But if you got 1 way and that 1 way don't work, then you limit it. So it hurts you down the road.
So what happens when you need a big stop and then say that the they don't have a defender? What you gonna do? Say if they didn't have there's no defender on the team, who needs to step up? Kevin Durant needs to go hold the best player.
I think Kevin Durant guard James Harden though, and not like just get burned by James Harden. I seen him on a pick and roll. I seen him protect the rim. So even if you want to say Kevin Durant doesn't do it all the time, I've seen times in big moments where he's willing to go guard LeBron, James Harden, Steph, whoever the guard is, whoever the big is. I've seen Kevin Durant at least go try to catch up with him and neutralize. Huh?
Has he done it in this series?
Yes.
And like what you saying, like, yeah, he's done it all. Now, if you want to say he hasn't done it consistently, after the game 5 thing, Giannis said, I need to take on the challenge. So as good as the defensive player as Giannis is, why do he have to wait till like an all-time great performance and won't take up the challenge?
Well, if you are, I mean, I follow the book. I like Giannis a lot. I'm not going. That's my second favorite player of all time behind Kobe. Giannis is very system like. If Bud say go sit in the corner, he's gonna go sit in the corner, bro. He doesn't argue. You ever seen Kevin Durant get subbed out and he waved wave his coach off? It's not Giannis. He's not that type of player. You can't. I mean, do I think he needs to be that type of player? Sometimes, but if that's his personality, I'm not.
And don't get it twisted. I think, to me, Giannis is everything I would want from a star player. He loyal. I ain't never seen Giannis like he won't quit. And I think this one I don't think Giannis get enough credit for. Giannis was not drafted to come in and play point guard.
No, at all.
So it's like, I think it's so crazy that people feel more comfortable criticizing Giannis than they do Ben Simmons.
In fact,
Ben Simmons gets a pass every year, but people still talking about what Giannis needs to do, and maybe Giannis not that guy. How crazy is this?
Ben Simmons, that's the next topic. But before we end this topic, I just want to ask: Game 7, who y'all got? Who you got, Tycoon? Game 7.
I got the Bucks, man. I'm riding with the Bucks.
Who you got, Jared?
Brooklyn all the way.
Kobe.
I got the Nets.
Before the series started, I said Nets in 7. I'm gonna stick with it. But yeah, let's move on to this next topic. Atlanta and Philly. Atlanta and
Ooh.
Philly.
I think they blew their chance. I feel like Philly's gonna win in 7. I would hope because Doc Rivers has a very long line of doing this. I would hope he don't blow to a 20-point lead 3 times in a series. Like I feel like they're gonna be at home. They're gonna get up. They might. What's that's gonna have their run? I feel like they're gonna be able to withstand it this time. If they don't, Doc Rivers has to go, and Ben Simmons and Embiid have to split up. They got to do something different. Like that's my personal opinion. Because
I've been saying for 3 years there.
I said in the sports group today, if Philadelphia win the championship, I would still move Ben Simmons. Like I would still trade him.
I do think that Ben Simmons does need to be more aggressive, and I also think that he needs to be he needs to play with a cat more type center more than Embiid type center. If that makes like a center that shoots high clip, like he needs the what his name is.
I agree with that. Doc Rivers not on the court.
Doc Rivers, it's not about him being on the court. It's about Doc Rivers he's blown 3-3-1 leagues with some of the best players that we've seen play basketball.
And you will see on the court that they ain't do what they were supposed to do. The Clippers ain't lose last year because Doc Rivers just coaching. It's like a lot of times they just blew a lot of defense.
But Doc Rivers doesn't make any adjustments. Like Doc Rivers to sit there and let whatever happen, he's gonna let that. He's just like, well, you know.
I think he wait too long to call timeout. I think Doc Rivers do wait too long to call timeout.
Kobe should have 6 rings. You can thank Doc Rivers for the reason why he don't have 6 rings. The Pistons came back from a 3-1 lead when they was supposed to lose.
To Orlando. To Orlando.
The Lakers. Then he did it with Harden. Like he let Josh. He didn't just like okay. Josh Smith just gonna keep killing us. Like it's not even Harden killing you. Letting Josh Smith kill you. And you didn't adjust.
Let me tell you something. Doc Rivers has his shortcomings, and there are adjustment questions. However, I don't blame Doc Rivers for the Clippers losing how they did last year because at the end of the day, it don't matter how good of a play calling you do, the players gotta go out there and execute, and that's something that the Clippers did not do last year at all. Just like I'm not about to give Ty Lue all this credit for players producing this year, like people want to.
He made the adjustments though. Ty Lue made adjustments.
Wait, with that being said though, if the Philadelphia 76ers lose this year, you still keep Doc Rivers because again, I'm not putting the blame on him. Well, I am gonna put the blame on because we touched on this last podcast. And when he see this podcast, I need him to address it because I need answers to this question from James. He told me that Ben Simmons was not a liability. And he told me that the numbers were set.
Math was easy.
That Ben Simmons makes a bigger impact than players like Draymond Green. He's not out there to do X, Y, Z. He's out there to play defense and move the ball. Well, I watched him pass that man every chance he got. It's almost like they sought Ben Simmons out just to pass him up.
It's time to stop holding that boy hand, man.
If you're not gonna be as effective on offense, then Trae Young need to be under.
Now, 25. I will blame Doc Rivers on this. Just because Ben Simmons, they started playing, you keep trying to give that man passes. Ben Simmons, and this is why I could appreciate what he did last game. It had about 6 minutes left, and they hacked Ben Simmons twice. And the second time he went to the line, he went 1 for 2, and Doc Rivers took him out for the next 4 minutes because he was like, man, I can't even depend on you to be in the game for the next 4 minutes to protect this lead because you can't hit free throws. And so if it's simple as the numbers and it's not, Ben Simmons need to be better than what he is. And Ben Simmons' defense has been trash this year. His assists don't matter. He in foul trouble. He not defending a thing. And like Kenny said, if they win a championship, you still trade Ben Simmons. Because Ben Simmons, you can find plenty of players to assist the ball. They got 13 other players in the league that had more assists than Ben Simmons. So you can always find somebody to assist the ball.
Hey, you know what else funny that people like to mention too, right? Like sometimes I see Embiid get criticized because they say Joel Embiid spending too much time on the outside. He need to be in the paint. No, because he gonna clog it up for Ben Simmons. And for some reason, your center is a better shooter than your guard. So it's like you got to move him out of position more because he's more comfortable taking jump shots.
You know what? The question. You know what? I will. What's your name, bro? I want to call you the wrong thing.
Oh, Jacoby.
You know what about that? We don't even know if he's a better shooter or not. He don't shoot the ball. Like
that's the problem. Not only is he might be a bad shooter, the fact that he don't even take the shot is the problem. It's like
you gotta shoot it.
It's like Draymond Green's not a good shooter, but he gonna take the shot. And if they start falling, guess what? The defense gotta come out there and guard you. The same day with Giannis. Giannis ain't no good shooter, but Giannis gonna take the shot. And so, if he make a couple, the defense gotta come out and guard you. And so, Ben Simmons, I watched it for the last 3 years in the playoffs. He's not gonna take the shot. Therefore, we could lag off him consistent. We could double Tobias Harris. We could double Joel Embiid when Jimmy Butler was there. We could double Jimmy Butler. We could double JJ Redick if he's shooting 3-pointers. We could double everybody else because we know Ben Simmons not even gonna take the shot.
Hey, I lost big bum after a couple of seasons ago when they asked him about it in the off season, and he said he ain't need to work on it. I'm done with you.
Hey, and that's the reason y'all touched on it earlier. That's the reason I don't give Giannis that much slack about missed free throws, because like y'all said, Giannis didn't come in the league as a point guard to be point guard. Ben Simmons, he came in the league to be a 6'10" point guard, like,
and he refuses to do anything else.
And he can't shoot. Like, he don't shoot. He got a good form. He just don't shoot. Like, I'm not understanding.
I got the Sixers winning. I would like to see, the Hawks play the Bucks. You know what I'm saying, with the Budenholzer old coach thing. But Ben, like you said, I just feel like Ben Simmons. I actually feel like Curry is showing that. That's who's been the Curry is showing, like, people said they seen glimpses about me being better than my brother before the league, and he's showing why. I'm not saying he's better than Steph Curry. That's not a topic here. What I'm saying is you see him when he's getting a lot of volume of the shots, he can get you 30 nightly in big games.
Hey, I did see somebody in the comments say something about Doc Rivers don't motivate players. I could agree with that though. Like, I want to say coaching don't matter all the time, but it's like they at least gotta want to play for you. So if you look at it, if you want to say Ty Lue at least got the Clippers want to play for him, that's the difference.
Another thing, Jacoby, Doc Rivers was a trade away from being, he was going to get fired in Boston before they made that trade.
Yeah.
And they went to game 7 every game in those playoffs with that team. Like, they won off sheer talent.
They went to game 7 against Atlanta and Cleveland. And the Lakers. They went to game 6 against Detroit and the Lakers.
Yeah.
They beat 6. They beat the Lakers in Detroit in 6.
Okay, my bad. But
it's good.
It's the point that team was too because you didn't know he was getting that out of Rondo. Rondo could show to be better than what was expected to be of him, and you still had 3 players in the back end of their prime.
I think Jacoby and Jared in the same place.
Right, we're in the same place. You sweet.
Yeah. Well, one of y'all need to mute your phone. One of y'all need to mute.
We sweet because my phone died, his phone died. He was on the charger in one place. I'm on the charger in another place.
Well, look, I picked Philly in 7. That's funny. That's funny. I picked Philly and I picked Brooklyn in 7 before the season started. Before the series started on the previous podcast. I'm gonna stick with Philly in 7.
I think Philly win, and I think they win easily, and I think they win in spite of Ben Simmons. And shout out to Wilk, man. It ain't gonna be nothing Atlanta did wrong. Nah, we was just talking. Ain't nothing that Atlanta did wrong. It's just Philly should be a better team. They should win.
All right. So you got Philly too, Kobe?
Huh?
You got Philly as well?
No, I got Atlanta with the upset.
You got Atlanta. Oh man, get out of here with that, man.
Why not though?
I wouldn't be
Like it's not
though.
ridiculous because who had them going to game 7 for real?
This is what I wouldn't be surprised.
I just said.
No, I'm saying like, do you think that was like a major thing where like most people had this at least going 7?
Nah.
That's all I'm saying is like, so I don't think it's that ridiculous. I don't see nobody who gonna say like, who gonna show up big and then like game 7 go be one of them things so it's like the superstar just go dominate so much. I don't see that with Philly.
Right. This is another thing I got, Jacoby, both of y'all. With Embiid being so injury prone, do you really move Ben Simmons? Like, do you still move Ben to keep him?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
because I rather struggle with Embiid and then take the chance of like at least if I don't see something with a new nucleus after getting rid of Ben Simmons, I can still at least get a good market for Joel Embiid because somebody gonna still believe in him too.
Right.
I'm getting Andrew Bynum vibes from him, man.
Oh,
that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
But even though like
I get what he's saying, I agree and disagree at the same time because Andrew Bynum was not that skilled.
Right.
But I get what you're saying. It's like, but he was supposed to be a cornerstone piece though.
Yeah,
and once he got that big deal,
the man took him clean out.
Like nigga hurt himself bowling, didn't it?
Yeah, I was just about to say.
So hold on. So I got this trade scenario where Ben Simmons struggling, CJ McCollum, he just struggled in the playoff series. If you Portland or Philly, do you make that phone call?
I consider it if you keep it self.
It helped both.
I consider it
if you Portland train for Damian Lillard.
No, I said CJ McCollum. I say you move CJ and you make Norman Powell the number 2, the no doubt number 2 scorer, and you bring in Ben Simmons, and you move CJ to Philly. I think Tycoon was just saying it. I think it helps both teams.
I think they're gonna want a little more for Ben. I think Ben is more valuable in the NBA executives and GMIs than CJ McCollum. For one, he has shown you he can put up 40 when he has the floor space. Like you've seen him, I don't know if y'all remember his rookie season when Embiid went down and they went like 15-1 to even make the playoffs, with him being the helm of being the number 1 option. But you add that Portland needs defense. That's the first thing. Portland defense is trash, and like you said, I feel like Joel Embiid can be more effective if Ben Simmons wasn't there.
But the thing about Ben Simmons being the guy when Embiid was hurt is because Embiid not in the paint. That's what helps Ben Simmons. It's like
I'm agreeing. That's what I'm saying. But with that, that's right. What you get if you move him to a team like Portland. You don't have a center that's so cornerstone where you have to toggle with what you want to. You know what I'm saying? You tugging what you want to do. All right, we know Dame is our cornerstone. Ben Simmons, you second. We can build around. We gonna build around. Dame can play with anybody as far as on the offensive end because as long as he gets to get. The only thing that probably would hurt them is he won't have the ball in his hand as much playing with Ben Simmons.
But you stay at the green light, he'll be all right. And Nurkic's not that type of center like that. They'll demand the ball, so I think that'll work for them. I don't know how it'll work for Philly. I think if you keep Self, but I think that's the main thing. You got to keep Self in order to move Ben Simmons.
I would try to get like a Covington in the trade as well because you're giving up Ben Simmons. You don't want to have Seth Curry and McCollum as your backcourt. You know what I'm saying?
That's guards that can't defend.
Correct. That's horrible.
So yeah, I mean, they would need something to deal.
I feel like he's gonna be on the market probably if they lose. He's definitely gonna. If they lose to the Hawks, he's on the market.
I like how we had these conversations. Like if they did something, Dame would win the championship at some point in his career. I think some players ain't gonna never win no championship, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You think Dame is one of them?
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I'm fine with him finishing out in Portland and not winning no championship. I don't think. And the thing that's so funny is that people criticize people for chasing rings or whatever, but I don't even think rings make or break your legacy unless you talk about as being a top 5 player all time. But everybody else, I don't think it makes sense for them to chase rings.
Rings make you the best player. Like I think it depends on how you win. Like of course the Jordans and the LeBrons of the world, but it's because of we already knew how good they were before the. You get what I'm saying? Like. Jordan was.
That's why I said unless we talking about like you being a top 5 player, I don't think championships matter like that. Like that's just an argument. Like when you splitting hairs, like, oh, I think Jordan better than LeBron. Well, I think LeBron better. Well, Jordan got 6 championships. That if you taking that argument, that's what they gonna argue, right?
Yeah, true.
Like success and championships. And if you be like, well, I think Kevin Durant better than LeBron. Well, LeBron got 4 rings, and Kevin Durant tried to go get rings, and he's still stuck on 2. How many champions? So unless you're talking about that kind of level like talk where it's like we talking about like greatest of all time or greatest of this era right now, then that's when championships play a factor.
Outside of that, it's just
I know this off topic, but it's on basketball topic. It's a whole nother series. This has Paul George. I like the fact that the clip because we were talking about Tyronn Lue. Paul George isn't per se better than Kawhi, but he's better than Kawhi, if that makes sense. Like he does more. Like as far you can't run your offense through Kawhi as far as facilitating and put like this. His when Paul George is at his best, his ceiling is higher than Kawhi at his best. Like if they both were having their best game.
I think that's like the most skill versus most dominant kind of conversation too.
But I feel like they both got the same kind of, because when Paul George is on fire, because Paul George can beat being Paul George being the main factor, it allows a man to have a breakout game like this. Reggie Jackson's been looking like the second coming of Derrick Rose. You got more steady because the ball is moving more. It's not just going between, all right, Paul George, your turn. All right, Kawhi, your turn.
I think because Paul George could find his flow better than Kawhi Leonard. Like Kawhi Leonard, you gotta kind of put him in position. Like we go ISO on the wing for you, give you your space, your mid range game like this, and then when he get into a rhythm, let him dominate. I think what a lot of people don't look at it like Paul George really is supposed to be Scottie Pippen, and people want him to be Michael Jordan in mindset.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? I think he's like a Scottie Pippen, like I'm the best Robin, like you could think of. I could do everything else that you need me to do, but don't depend on me to win the game. Don't depend on me to win the championship. But look at me as like whenever you need that support, I can do everything that you need surrounded.
What if he pulled this off? Somehow, what if he pulled this off? What does that do for him?
Nothing.
I'm talking about he won the championship. I'm not talking.
I know what you mean. Nothing.
You don't feel like that does nothing? I'm saying
but you know what happened? Because everything gonna be put in historical context. Yep. So it's like you gonna say, yeah, he got this ring, and then the excuses gonna come up. But if he would have faced this person, then this would have happened. It's like something we didn't see people win rings or whatever. But if this was like an anomaly, like one good series, it's like if he don't repeat that next year, then this year was just gonna be a flaw anyway.
Right.
Paul George is a star. He's not like a top tier superstar.
Is he in your top 10?
Huh?
Is he in your top? Where you got him at? Top 25, 20, 10?
All time.
Right. You talking about like in the league right now?
In the NBA.
Yeah, I got him. I love Paul George's game though. So to me, he's a top 10 player. But I just know like paying attention to how basketball get played and stuff like that. It's like, son, Draymond Green still disrespected. Like they look at him as like he wasn't as important as he really was. Even though in their first couple of championships, he was the muscle. Them boys was too soft. You needed Draymond Green to not only play defense on your big and run the offense for Clay and Steph to run around and get open. He had to run all of that. He was the leader on defense and he led the offense. And people still disrespect Draymond Green and tell my man he wasn't that good.
Hey,
so what Paul George gonna get accomplished with one championship and people high?
I
Blake,
say, oh my bad. Go ahead, bro.
I was just going. Blake just said it's going to be big because that's going to be the Clippers' first ring ever.
They won't do anything for Paul George.
They won't do anything for Paul George's legacy though. Son, you know Kyrie Irving hit the game-winning shot for the Cleveland first championship, and the biggest thing that you see is a block.
but the difference between Kyrie Irving is LeBron was there. We're talking about if Kawhi doesn't come back, that's going to be a big deal to me. I think if he doesn't come back, because they probably have to beat 9 out of 10. They have to beat either the Bucks or the Nets.
You know what happens though. You know what happens for Paul George. The problem about a player like Paul George is because he's not in that conversation with LeBron of the world. People's opinion about him won't change because they already are set with how they feel about him. It's like Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is the only person who can win rings right now and it matter like that.
And even then, it gonna matter in the long run for Kevin Durant. But if you already don't like Kevin Durant, the more championships he wins doesn't do anything to change your opinion. So if you already not a Kevin Durant fan, or you already don't appreciate his game, or you already are pitting him against LeBron James, then it don't matter how many championships.
We're not gonna go off of a individual opinion. We're talking about the narrative of an NBA, a basketball narrative, not a single person opinion. The narrative of basketball. Like
I put it to you this way: when the Big Three Heat won their championship, what was the bigger deal? LeBron first ring or Dwayne Wade second ring?
LeBron, because he was also the MVP. Like that's
even though Dwayne Wade won the first championship in Miami Heat history now. And they got the first championship ever in Miami history.
I mean, that's still the most celebrated ring for Miami. Like
no, it's not. And
when people talk about that ring, the Dwayne Wade. Matter of fact, Dwayne Wade. I was looking this up the other day. In the new millennium, this is the only one I could think of was Dwayne Wade. When the team was the underdog, and a player went crazy, he's the only one that has won. Like when Kobe
went. If you look at the numbers, yes, but nobody talks about Dwayne Wade first ring. In fact, I've seen media people talk about how Shaq made a difference.
We are in the same car.
We switched up. My bad. My phone died.
Phone died.
I maybe because I know a lot of Heat fan, but like real Heat fan, like that's the most the ring I hear about the most is the Dwayne Wade ring. Maybe because
you that's for real Heat fans.
That's for real Heat fans. Think
about how old you. We're gonna talk about current more than past. So of course you're gonna bring up LeBron because LeBron is still in the league and LeBron is brought up. LeBron is the most talked about.
They ain't talking about that when Dwayne Wade was in the league.
That's what I'm saying. In a first championship run, it was more so. It was not about Dwayne Wade getting a second championship.
No, like I'm nobody. Not saying it's not about his. He didn't win MVP neither. He wasn't the final MVP. LeBron was the MVP of the season, and LeBron was the best player on the team. We're not. You get what I'm saying? LeBron was there. Like it's not like LeBron wasn't there. LeBron
he was the best player on the. That's what I'm saying. You could say he was because he had more skills, right?
Who?
LeBron.
LeBron was the best player on the team.
But what I'm saying is he had never won.
But Dwayne Wade had won. When he won, he was like kind of like when Durant won. Durant was the MVP of the team. Like it wasn't like if Curry would have won MVP, it would have diminished. It would have really hurt Durant. Like people like, oh, he went over there but he won. Like LeBron won the MVP.
And that didn't help his career, and that didn't help at all that he was Finals MVP. It didn't change the narrative.
Right.
I'm not saying it changed the narrative.
The only point that I'm making is that it's like when people have like a large perception of you in this like thing, it's like it's hard because even when you are successful, it's always the reason you were successful because. So I seen somebody say he would be legend because he beat Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. No. They would say the reason he won is because them players was hurt. You had Harden out there with one leg. It's gonna always be because
But that's
They was in a
everything.
position.
That's, I mean, somebody's gonna say that, especially with the media. You can do that for the last.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying you can do that for every ring all the way back until to Shaq and Kobe. If you Shaq and Kobe is literally the last legitimate ring that has no excuse.
It's
Them
like,
and
but
the
here's the
Spurs.
problem.
I mean, but I can't even know how we could quantify that. It's
I'm
like,
saying
that
somebody will come up with an excuse in every seat. Like last year, you'll say the bubble. The year before that, the Warriors were hurt. The year before that, the Kevin Durant joined them the 2 years. You get what I'm saying? Of course they're gonna win. They don't supposed to lose. Or then you do the Chris Paul injury in one of them, and then you'll go back the year before that. You'll start talking about the Cavaliers injury, and then you go back the year before that. You'll say the who won the year before that?
the Warriors.
Spurs.
The
Oh,
Spurs.
the year before that, the Spurs.
They said that the only person was healthy was LeBron. Then the year before that, they go back. Ray Allen saved them. I mean, somebody's gonna come up with an excuse every year. If you go off that mindset. You know what I'm saying?
So Clippers and the Suns.
That's
Chris
a
Paul.
whole.
Out for the first 2 games. I don't know how long Chris Paul
out. Yeah, I got the Clippers winning tomorrow.
So assuming Chris Paul and Kawhi don't play at all this series, just assume. I don't know if that's going to be true or not. Just assume who y'all got winning that series.
It depends. On Chris Paul sit out at the home games. I got the Clippers. If he sit out both of these home games, I got the Clippers.
y'all not giving the Suns no chance.
I like Phoenix, but I just think the Clippers have more that they got more pieces that could do more things.
And I think you're gonna see how important Chris Paul is. I think Chris Paul one of them players with stats don't actually prove how valuable he is.
It ain't you don't exploit. I think they finna exploit Ayton. Like Ayton's finna get exploited just like Rudy Gobert got exploited.
You take him out the paint, he's gonna be a problem. Now I will say, and somebody else pointed this out too in the group. I will say, DeAndre Ayton is better offensively than Rudy Gobert by a lot. However, his offensive impact won't matter because if the Clippers go small, then they're gonna have to take him out the paint and put him on the perimeter, go put him in foul trouble, or it's gonna put everybody out of whack.
The Clippers are playing Warriors basketball, but they're not settling for the three. They're taking a decent amount of them, but like when they get the rebound, they're not looking for who to pass the ball to. They're looking for the right person to pass. Like if Paul George gets the rebound, he's pushing it. If Reggie Jackson is in the passing tunnel, he's gonna give it to him. If the Batum grabs it, he's not looking for Paul George. He's pushing it and passing it up as a long. That's why man had 39. They're attacking the rim. You leaving him open.
They missed 6 shots.
Are we calling team basketball Warriors basketball now?
Yep.
I'm not saying because it's team basketball. I'm saying you have 5 people that can grab the rebound. Like put like this. You don't. Rudy Gobert grabbed the rebound. He's trying to find Donovan Mitchell or
somebody to bring it up the court.
Or Conley. Yeah, he's trying to find somebody to bring it up, and he's trying to find a certain person. He's not even looking if Bogdanovic right there. He's probably not going to pass it Bogdanovic. He's going to wait for one of them to come back and get it. If Paul George is at the top of the key, he's not coming back to the ball. He's running. He's sprinting out because he know, hey, if man grab the rebound, he can bring it up. If Batum grab the rebound, he can bring it up. If Reggie Jackson grab the rebound, he can bring it up. Morris is like the only one that really isn't, but he can still bring it up. He's probably not as skilled as them with it, but I've seen him grab the rebound and say, I'm gonna run this break. Anybody out of all 5 players, all 5 of them can run the break. There's no weak link as far as running the break. That's why I'm saying Warriors basketball.
Yeah, but I think a lot of teams like that, if Blake Griffin has, so he can bring the ball up too. Zubac in the game, he can't bring the ball up. I've seen a lot of times where they get rebounds, and it's not like everybody could just set the offense. I didn't see Marcus Morris Sr. bring the ball up to the half court and then look for like Reggie Jackson or Paul George. But that was also to the point that we were saying about Kawhi Leonard. Like, he don't do everything. He still got to get in position. Like, just because you can bring the ball half court, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's everybody could like handle the ball type thing.
I know what I mean. That's why I say I feel like Paul George running the offense is better because now you have 2 or 3 playmakers in. Batum has always been a great playmaker. He used to run the offense for Portland a lot. Then you got Paul George, who's did it for most of his career. Reggie Jackson's done. Man showing that, and you only got one person can't run the offense up there right now. You know what I'm saying? And like, what I was going by, what I was saying, but it's like now you got a bunch of chances to get fast breaks. Is what I mean. Like, if you get to a half court set, then that's different. But we actually got a chance to every play we get the ball, we almost got a chance to try to score a fast break point.
I'll say this though about that series, and I got to preface the statement by saying this don't take anything away from what Phoenix is doing and what Phoenix is capable of doing and what they accomplished so far. But if Chris Paul not there, then I have to point out that outside of Devin Booker, who we knew can score like he is, everybody else on Phoenix this year are overachieving. Cameron Payne, Miles Bridges, like the other dudes, they're overachieving so far, which is not a bad thing because growth of the player, that's what you want them to do. You want them to overachieve. However, with the matchup against the Lakers, I think they matched up better with the Lakers, mostly because the Lakers wanted to force Drummond to be in the game, and so it really made the Lakers' offense really not that great, along with injuries. So a lot of things they matched up well with when they were healthy, but then they got hurt, so it made an even better matching up. The thing about the Nuggets is, outside of Jokic, nobody was doing anything consistently on that team. I don't know what was going on with the Nuggets. Missing Jamal Murray played the big deal. Having Michael Porter Jr. wanting to play defense, it just didn't work.
His defense is trash, and I love
it. Awful.
And people kept trying to force him to be in, like, oh, he need to play more. And it's like, for all the points he gonna give you, he gonna give them up on the other side.
And that's what he did all series.
JaVale McGee should have got some playing time.
Yes. They needed something.
I don't understand why they got Bobo. Like, give them when you get to that point, you supposed to just you gotta dig.
Hey, let me ask y'all something about Chris Paul. Lenton Murray James, a guy in the group, he said that Chris Paul, he hasn't guarded anybody in these playoffs yet. He said the Clippers would exploit that if he playing. What y'all think about that?
I agree with that to a certain extent. And it kind of goes to my point of everybody on Phoenix is kind of overachieving right now. It's like Chris Paul hasn't really gone against anybody, so to speak, but I don't think that takes away from what Chris Paul does, because that's just what Chris Paul does. I think the biggest problem for Phoenix is those other players haven't really gone against anybody either. And so without Chris Paul and with Chris Paul, you're asking those players who are already overachieving to continuously overachieve against a team that's going to be the best defense they've seen in this playoff so far. And so I think the Clippers, who are also a really good offensive team, they're the best defense the Phoenix Suns have seen all season so far. Therefore, they can give Phoenix a lot of problems, especially with the DeAndre Ayton thing.
They said Chris Paul ain't guard nobody.
Well, Chris Paul hasn't gone up against anybody.
I guess he said he hasn't gone anybody.
Any elite guards. That's what he said.
Okay. Like, but let's be real though. Like, if you look at the playoffs and like here in the Western Conference, right? Who your elite guards that, like, if he would have played them, they would have not had that question. Dame,
Murray.
Dame, Dame, who's shown he don't play defense. The thing is, Chris Paul been in the league for a long time, and I don't know how often we question Chris Paul defense or say he hasn't played anybody. Most of the teams who are guard oriented that you would even consider is like they not that good on defense, so they would have got work on the other side of the ball anyway. So Dame, like, if he would have faced Dame and CJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
What Dame and CJ do with Chris Paul and Devin Booker on the pick and roll? What they do with DeAndre Ayton and Book on the pick and roll?
Nothing.
They get exploited.
Dame and CJ are horrible defenders. I'm not arguing.
Who Dame and CJ played last round?
Who did they play?
They played the Nuggets, huh?
They lost the Nuggets.
Okay, what guards they went up against?
Capazzo and Morris.
What I will say about CP3, not with that. See what's going to happen with this. CP3 with the Suns. He's replaced Rubio. He's an upgrade, a way higher upgrade than Rubio. But what you do know, you still need that Rubio type player out there because Devin Booker can't. I forgot who it was. Devin Booker can't handle the trap. Like when you trap him, he get to throwing the ball out of bounds, and he's probably going to become their main ball handler. Him and Cameron Payne with more being Booker without.
And that's why it's a problem.
It's going to hurt him.
Right, and when that's why everybody has all these questions when Chris Paul hurt his shoulder in the first round because you knew you didn't want Devin Booker to be your main ball handler. Like let Devin Booker do what Devin Booker do and then score. And with the last 2 years that he had a legitimate point guard to handle the ball, Devin Booker's shoot percentage is great.
Over the last 2 years, Devin Booker's really been their point guard. Like Devin Booker's been averaging like 20. High 27 and 7, like 7 is like he's been there.
Right. But they said that's been the problem for him, though, right? Is that Devin Booker got to do too much and he not built like that.
Right. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying, Jared had just said that he when he had a point guard, I was saying, he didn't. Rubio just on the court. Devin Booker has been their point guard for the most part. Like
we going.
And I don't like you said, and then it's gonna revert back to the same thing. And so they need this team needs Chris Paul because it's built for a Chris Paul type player. I feel like he should have went to the Bucks.
That's why when we was talking earlier, and you was talking about Phoenix was already on their way. I was like, nah.
No, I'm saying they would have been a playoff team. They would nowhere. He makes them a contender. I'm saying I said Chris Paul joins teams that all they need is somebody to get them over the hump. You get what I'm saying? Like.
I think, but it's the NBA. I think you can say that about most teams. It's like I feel like Minnesota Timberwolves got like
one player from the hump.
Enough talent to say if you had somebody like Chris Paul, that would change them too.
Yeah. I mean, it would.
But that's what I feel like they got. But they're not in the playoffs without Chris Paul. I think they would be a home seed.
I feel like they're in the playoffs if they stay healthy. Like I got them better than if the Timberwolves stay healthy for a whole season. They are better than the Grizzlies to me.
So hold on, let me ask y'all. Since we're talking about Chris Paul and the Suns, and we saying that what Chris Paul does for a team. Kobe, me and you had this conversation on the phone about Russell Westbrook and Cameron Payne. How the player that Cameron Payne was with Russell Westbrook, he was known for his handshakes. But this year, when he's playing with Chris Paul, a guy that I think motivates his teammates, we seeing Cameron Payne playing the best basketball that he ever played. Because even after he left Russell Westbrook, when he went to Chicago,
he was decent.
He was decent.
He's developing. Cameron Payne's like 23, 24 now.
I don't know how old he is.
I mean, with time comes, you get better. And then I do Chris Paul as a great mentor, somebody that's
I mean, you can't say that with everybody because you talking about Ben Simmons, how his rookie year he had 40 points, but he peaked his rookie year.
He had 40. Ben Simmons had 40, I think 49 this year when what's his name set out.
He had a Rudy Gobert. He liked to make that point on.
Yeah, he had like 49 points on Rudy Gobert. I believe it, like in a triple double.
Rudy Gobert wasn't the one guarding him, but I understood.
In these three years, Ben Simmons been in the league. Has he gotten better?
I feel like Ben Simmons has. No, I feel like Ben Simmons has gotten better, but he hasn't been. He's not utilizing what the Sixers need.
I think the NBA has caught on to how Ben Simmons play, and he hasn't gotten better in my eyes.
Ben Simmons, the Sixers have added more people to be an option in front of it. Like the first
to cover up his weaknesses because he didn't get better. That's why they keep getting more people.
I'm saying Ben Simmons was the second option this first year, right?
He's supposed to be the second option this year.
No, Tobias Harris is a way better scorer than him.
We know.
Yes.
But Ben Simmons,
And they still have him as the second best player, so they still run through him. You're going to run through Embiid and Simmons before you start considering Tobias Harris.
I said you could be the second best scorer on the team and not be the second best player. That's like
Ben
that's
Simmons ain't either.
People get like scoring is the most important part of basketball. It's scoring. Like I say it all the time. As a team,
certain players.
Scoring first, defense as a team, but as an individual, I feel like it's scoring, then facilitating, then defense as an individual. Because you can be a bad defender, but if you can score and pass the ball, you probably a top 5-10 player in the league.
Well, hold on.
Let me say this first. I say this like because I grew up in Baton Rouge, so I was going to LSU games when Ben Simmons was there.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons was like the same player that played at LSU as he did for the Philadelphia 76ers. I went to an Oklahoma game where Buddy Hield was still playing. Buddy Hield looked way better than Ben Simmons. When I went and watched like commentation on it, it's because Ben Simmons didn't have to get better. He's saving himself for the NBA. That's why he don't look as developing stuff like that. They don't want to take the chance of him getting hurt and hurt his stock. Ben Simmons still is the same player, and he running out of excuses. At what point, when you dating a female, how long you got to date her to know that you're not going to want to marry her?
Not long.
All right, then. Because you just, after a couple of months of dating her, you just know who she is. So even if she do something once or twice in the next couple of years, you gonna say that's not her though. That's an anomaly.
But what I'm saying, but what I'm saying, Jacoby, is put like this: the first year, right? Ben Simmons went on the crazy run at the end of the year. The second year, Ben Simmons was kind of in that same mode, and they added Jimmy Butler, which pushes him back. Then you added Tobias Harris and push you're the fourth option now. Then this year again, now this the role he's known to play. Okay, Tobias still there. Curry comes in and does he's JJ Redick. Matter of fact, JJ Redick was almost more of a scoring option than him at one point. He was. I think JJ Redick was actually 20-something with them
because he couldn't shoot.
But here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing though. I do you one better about the Ben Simmons thing. I also, again, growing up in Baton Rouge, but I worked for the newspaper, and when I was working there in high school for Madison Prep, it had a player, Jarrell Martin. Jarrell Martin is huge. He like 6'10", 250, massive dude. Before he got drafted, I seen him in the mall. Big dude. When he was at LSU, he started making the rounds on ESPN because he used to do in-game dunk contest dunks. I mean, they were like great. Had all the athleticism. But for somebody who was working for a place that covered these players, you start knowing different details about these players, and you start paying attention to things. And you realize that's all he was doing. He wasn't really getting better at LSU, but he got the attention at LSU because of the LSU. So he gets all the rounds on ESPN, and he gets drafted. Jarrell Martin probably ain't been in the league in about 2-3 years, and I think he overseas or what have
I'm not gonna make excuses for Ben Simmons. You want? Oh, go ahead. I didn't know you finished. I thought you go ahead. Finish.
So the problem is for Ben Simmons is he keeps getting pushed back to the second and third option, but they paid you. I mean, the third and fourth option, but they paid you to be the second option. They paid you to be part of. You are part of the process that they alluded to.
Jason Kidd, bro, early in his career. That's what Jason Kidd was the third, fourth option for the Knicks.
But here's the problem.
He wasn't like a lot. We just had that conversation with somebody. Jason Kidd wasn't a liability though.
Right. You can have the ball in Jason Kidd's
Even
hand.
when Jason Kidd was in college, Jason Kidd was a primetime scorer. So he chose to take a step back because he was a smarter player. But when they left him open, he had a set shot. He didn't miss free throws. So you could trust him down the close.
That's the only. I think Ben Simmons does need to shoot.
No. Ben Simmons don't even need to be a good shooter.
Yeah, he need to shoot it.
Well, here's the problem with Ben Simmons. For one, if you ever seen Ben Simmons form at the free throw line, he's really not a good form shooter. It's a terrible form.
Shoot with his right hand. First of all, he needs to go back to shooting with his right hand. That's the first.
That too. But the problem with Ben Simmons is he has a bad form, so he may not be that good of a shooter in the general sense. The issue with Ben Simmons as a player is Ben Simmons has allowed himself to be hyped up, and he's okay with where he's at. A person like Draymond Green, is not a scorer. He's never asked to be a scorer, and he's not a great scorer. But something that Draymond Green does every year is he works on the thing that he's good at, and he works on the things that he's bad at. The same thing like Giannis does. I believe Giannis is constantly working on his shot, working on his free throw. When Ben Simmons came out publicly and said that he didn't need to work on his shot, that let me know the work ethic of Ben Simmons.
And the other thing is too, even with somebody like Giannis, like we were talking about earlier, Giannis can dominate in certain areas. Ben Simmons don't dominate even defensively. He good defensively, he ain't dominant on defense. So it's like the problem is not only do you have like a major flaw in your game, but you don't even have something that's like be like you dominate this so often that we can ignore that. And that's the problem.
Right.
They robbed Donovan Mitchell a Rookie of the Year to give it to Ben Simmons. And why would you take Ben Simmons over Donovan Mitchell right now?
I wouldn't take him over him. I would definitely take Donovan Mitchell over Ben Simmons. But you know what Ben Simmons needs? He's not a champ. I'm not saying he just needs his own. Him and Embiid is like oil and water. They just don't mix. There are two players that you would have to cater to a different type of playing style, and right now you're going to pick Embiid to cater to more. Like, I'm not comparing these to two different ages, but do y'all remember LeBron rookie year?
Yeah.
And LeBron was averaging them like 13, 14 points a game. Ricky
20.9. 20.9.
No. I know what he averaged for the end of it. He averaged 20. He was averaging 13 points a game, like 13.7.
Gotcha.
He was averaging 13.7 a game, and they traded Ricky Davis and Darius Miles because they was taken away from his playing style. He was on the average like 27 points a game to end the season, averaging 20.
Hey, coach, you just in time. We talking about your boy. We talking about your favorite player.
We talking about the liability.
Who's that?
Your favorite player.
Who we talking about?
You're gonna have to. If you either gonna have to build around a big that shoots. Ben Simmons is one of the players you're gonna either have to build around, or he's gonna fall back into a role play.
What center go shoot better than Embiid?
Cat's the best 3-point shooting center in the league.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying how much better of a shooter is Cat? Is it that big of a jump?
44% from the 3-point line.
That's percentage. I'm talking about as a shooter. I don't know what they.
Cat shoots almost as many threes as Steph Curry, and he's in that range. He shoot like anywhere from 7 to 10 a game.
So you saying you need a full-time perimeter big man?
You need a Porzingis. He needs a 5-and-out type offense.
See, but that's doing too much. That's asking.
I don't think the ends justify the means at that point. I gotta rehash and reformulate a whole team around somebody with a very limited skill set for a point guard.
So, coach, let me bring coach.
So I need to get a big man that can shoot. I need to make sure I have enough shooters around them so where like not only can they hit free throws, they also have to be very, very good defenders. So I gotta do too much to build around somebody who not. And you give Ben Simmons all that, he gonna win you a championship.
I mean, it's not like you said. It's gonna be a lot of. It's probably going in the last decade. How many people won championships? Like it's only been like what 3-4 teams, and so I'm just saying for him to be productive and be in a winning. I feel like if you build around Ben Simmons with the right talent, you can be a winning team. You're not going to win a championship. You're not going to. A lot of teams are not going to win a championship.
And I think his problem is his ego. So somebody else will build around him. Why would that force him to get better? He don't need more around him. He needs to get better. He needs to have people stop coddling him and talking about what he could be and what everybody else around him could do.
he need to be better.
But
That's
but
all I'm saying. That
Cole,
feeding into his ego, I don't think helps.
do you think he need a position change?
Cole,
Huh?
Kobe,
Yeah.
put
Whoa,
Jacoby,
what
put
you got?
Jared on. Put Jared on.
Jay,
Where he at?
he
Put
right
Jared,
here.
put Jared on. Put Jared on.
Jay, it's on you.
What was the
Hey,
question?
you had said a statement about coaching ball and Ben Simmons. You want to remind us of that statement while coach on the
Yes, I
podcast.
need to know. I need to
On the
know.
podcast.
I
No.
need to know how Ben Simmons is not a liability on the floor when for these last 3 games, Ben Simmons has been nothing but a liability. I know we talked about Doc Rivers making adjustments. So last game, Doc Rivers made adjustments, and we had 6 minutes left in the game. He took Ben Simmons out for 4 of them. I can't call you not a liability if you supposed to be a player that we paying you to be a second option, and they had to take you out in crunch time because I can't depend on you to make shots or to make free throws. And Doc Rivers said it in the post game. He was like, "If you make them, we keep them in. If you don't make them, we take them out." It's like that can't be an option. That shouldn't be an option that we got to take you out in crunch time because you can't make free throws. That's a problem. That's a problem. And defensively, the thing that he's supposed to be doing, Trey Young was passing that man up every play. They was seeking him out.
Okay.
I don't need my
Would you
big.
like me
I
to
don't need my
rebuttal that?
guard to act
Would
like
you like
he
a
a big.
response?
Right. I don't need my
Okay.
guard to have big man deficiency.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is Phil Jackson recognized as one of the greatest coaches of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did he take Shaq out of crunch time because of free throws? Did he ever sit
Huh?
Shaq with? Did Phil
We had
Jackson
this
ever take
conversation
Shaq?
last time. I told you Shaq ain't never caused him to lose games because he missed
No.
free
You know
throws.
what? There we go. Now we differentiate. I asked a simple question: has Phil Jackson ever taken Shaq out of crunch situations because of his
It's not a simple
free
question
throws?
because it's more than one
Oh,
answer. Did he
oh my
always
God!
take
It's
him
either
out?
yes or
No, he
no.
didn't
It's
always
either.
take him out.
So does
So
Doc
you want
River
to point the
always
times when
take?
he did, but he didn't
Does
always
Doc
take him
River?
out.
The difference
Oh,
between Shaq and Ben Simmons
it's
is
just a simple question. All right, if you don't want to answer, that's fine.
I
We'll move
answered
on.
your question.
It's a
You
simple
asked me a
question.
question that doesn't have
I asked a simple.
100% yes or
No, it's just.
no.
Is Ben Simmons
Go
has
ahead,
Ben
bro.
Simmons been
There you
taken
go.
out of 100%
He said like this:
100% of the
Phil
game?
Jackson take Shaq out in the end of 4 quarters, and I said sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't. Answer is a simple question.
Has
I
Ben
said it's not a
Simmons been
one-way
taken out of
question.
100% of fourth
But
quarters?
you
Has it
moving
been
the
100%?
goalpost.
You're moving the goalpost.
No, I'm
Ben
Shaq,
not.
Simmons
No, I'm
has been
not.
showing
Shaq
to be a
has
Oh
made
my
liability.
crucial
God.
free throws. Ben Simmons is not.
Okay, you
And
never still
also
never
the fact
answered
that
the
it's like you
question.
want to ignore the obvious of which I said.
All
The
right, man.
fact is it's a liability.
If we're not
If
going to
Shaq is
answer
a
the question, then we
liability,
can have a conversation.
Hold on. Hey, hold on. I missed the question. What was the exact question,
The
Coach?
question was: has Phil Jackson taken Shaquille O'Neal out of games in the fourth quarter because of his inability to make free throws?
Yeah,
I,
yes.
that was no better than me.
That has happened. So
Y'all Lakers
my
fan.
point is that when you're a liability at the free throw line, coaches will do that shit from time to time. My problem is when you say Ben Simmons is a complete liability. First of all, Ben Simmons is not ranked as a superstar in my eyes. He is barely a star, and I'll use that term very lightly. And I like Ben Simmons, but I don't call him a star. Y'all said when I jumped on the podcast, y'all were talking about building around Ben Simmons. I'm one of the few people that think you can't build around Ben Simmons because he needs too much. He needs too many complementary pieces to be successful the way his game is constructed. He has to be an ancillary piece. Ben Simmons can't be your second best player on a championship team unless your big time dog is big time enough. Like what I'm talking about, he has to be otherworldly superstar. I like Ben Simmons, but I have never ever said he was a superstar or that dude. I said he plays great defense. I like the way he sees the court.
Doesn't
I
play
think
good
he
defense.
can run the offense great. I think he has all those. I think he's a prototypical point guard. He's a old school point guard. He doesn't shoot the three. He reminds me of a young Jason Kidd.
I've been saying that from jump. He's not a liability in my eyes. Is he bad at the free throw line? If you want to say he's a liability as far as free throws, I could go, but I can't say that he's a complete liability because that's basically saying he's a scrub. I don't subscribe to that way of thinking. That's me. I'm going to stand on that.
Let me ask y'all something. Okay, so you just said that the thing about Shaq and Phil Jackson,
right?
And like I said, y'all all three of both, y'all all Lakers fans, so y'all would know better than me. But at the same time, as a coach took their starting point guard out for free throws, because
now that I don't think I've ever seen that one.
I think Rondo's been taken out of the game.
Rondo not that bad.
Rondo been taken out of the game.
Rondo was a horrible free throw shooter as a point guard. Fuck, Luke is a horrible free throw shooter as a point guard. I mean,
only in the playoffs. I don't know why. In the regular season, he shoots pretty good. In the playoffs, it was horrible.
But that's the thing, though.
Like
you keep saying like he an old school point guard, but this not the old school.
You still can win with an old school point guard, dog. I'm sorry.
You can't.
You can.
You just said Ben Simmons needs a. Wait, hold on, right quick, Coach. I had to let that call pass. I ain't want to miss what you were saying. Go ahead.
No, I feel that you still can win with an old school point guard. I'm not saying that he's your alpha on your team. Again, an old school point guard with a dominant big man and a great wing can still win your game. You still need someone to manage the basketball game. That's what I mean when I say an old school point guard. And Ben Simmons
what old school point guard couldn't make free throws down the clutch and still would be needed in the game? Even if you had a big, you can't have a big dominant player and your point guard still can't shoot free throws.
I don't even think it's about free throws. I think y'all focusing too much on the free throws. I think
that's what I'm saying.
The disability.
Rondo was an old school point guard, and Rondo couldn't shoot free throws. Rondo couldn't shoot. Had a good jumper.
I'm just talking about the fact that he was saying like this Shaq had to do it for the free throws. But my thing is, because a lot of times they had to play 4-on-5 on offense, I'm saying he's a complete liability. Now, if you want to break it down in the aspects of how, I don't think that his defense can compromise for the fact that he can't shoot at all. So where you put it to where it's like, if Seth Curry go run around for screens, we're gonna have somebody who gonna stay on position on him, and we can have another person because Ben ain't gonna shoot. And if Ben beat in the middle, he can't drive. He don't have the room. He is a liability. You can't even move you can't have ball movement, and you can't let the ball stick. It's 4-on-5.
Hey, so hold on.
Without Ben Simmons on the court.
Hold on, Jared. Hold on. Tycoon, you was about to say something about it's not about the free throws. You still on?
That's what I said. It's not. I don't feel like it's that's not the biggest part of his liability. Like it's the fact that when he doesn't have the ball, he just want to go stand in the dunk spot like it's 2K or something. Like the fact that you got him on the court and there's a person that we don't have to guard at all.
That's what I mean about on 4-on-5 on offense.
That's put like this. Giannis can't shoot, but for a fact that Giannis probably gonna go set the all-ball screen. Giannis is probably gonna still get the ball on the backdoor cut. They're looking for a way to involve him in the offense if he doesn't have the ball. He's probably the one setting the on-ball screen. When Ben Simmons doesn't have the ball, he's not setting the screen 9 out of 10. He's just out there, and that's why I feel like that's where coaching come in. Use him as your screener. Like when he doesn't have the ball, you need to be the one setting the screen.
How many years did people play Rondo all 5 or 6 feet? How many years did we see that?
But
Rondo, hold on. We saw a decade of people playing off Rondo. Rondo could shoot the jumper. Rondo was a liability at the free throw line. But Rondo wasn't the alpha of the team. Rondo wasn't the second best player of that team. That's what I mean when I say you can still win with a prototypical point guard. He just can't be your alpha or your second best player.
The difference
Ben
between
Simmons
Rondo
plays amazing defense.
The difference
Ben Simmons has
he plays good defense, not amazing.
Yeah, he plays amazing. He finished second in defense.
You remember a couple of weeks ago when you said that he was gonna be defensive player of the year because of his all the numbers proved?
He was second. My bad. And he was,
but you were still wrong. Like how you said, answer the question, you were still wrong. But the thing was, impact-wise,
if you give me a chance to complete a statement, you'd understand what I'm saying.
But I was just telling you, impact-wise, the defense has not done that for them. That's all I'm saying. I'm not actually really saying that I care about it. Like you have your stance. Even back then, I told you,
If
Hey,
you
did
feel like
Rudy
that's
Gobert's
cool. But I'm just
defense?
saying, on the court, in a lot of big moments, I haven't seen Ben Simmons just go shut down somebody. Then you go
Did you
say,
see Rudy
well, that's a
Gobert do
team
that?
job, right?
Did Rudy Gobert have a moment that he shut down anybody in the Clipper series? No, he was still
Huh?
defensive MVP of the year. He was still
Hey,
defensive player of the year.
hey, coach,
Rudy
this is what
Gobert
I'm saying. The
basically,
difference between Rondo would shoot the ball. If Ben Simmons just would shoot
and
the
he would
ball,
miss. He would miss. He played Rondo
but
off
he'll
for
have games
5.
where he get hot, and then you like,
Oh,
well, and another
and you
thing
have
is
some games you have Ben Simmons go
Rondo
for 20.
won in the air because the Rondo now was smacking. Rondo last year with the Lakers was hitting threes like,
And you know what people said? Oh my God, Rondo's hitting threes. They used to
but
call Jason Kidd Ace Kidd because he had no J. That was a running joke in the
yeah, but
NBA.
he
He was
went and
Ace
he
Kidd.
started.
And 10 years later, he hit threes.
Yeah,
It
but
is
the
what it
difference is
is, man.
not only they taking them and they played in an era where the 3-point ball was or the
Hey,
average
bro.
team was
Hey,
the average
y'all
player was
still.
only taking two to three threes a game, and those were the elite ones.
Hey, bro. You realize that most of these teams that's in the playoffs right now are not 3-point snipers, right? The
Every team in the league,
76ers,
every team is a top
the
3-point shooting team.
76, but the 76ers are not a top 3-point shooting team. The Clippers are not a top 3-point shooting team. They're not.
Word?
Go look at the numbers.
I think they got the highest percentage in the league, don't they?
I think
No,
they
they
do.
don't. No, they had it for a stretch.
I mean, what's that right there? I know. I know the Bucks. I know the Bucks was 4.
They had it for a stretch. I give you that. They had it for a stretch, but they're no longer the top percentage wise. They had it for a stretch, but no longer. They got a high streak. But what I'm saying is,
But I'm just saying they can't be like a horrible 3-point percentage if they let it for a
no,
stretch, right?
no. I'm not saying horrible. I'm saying if you're in the middle of the pack as far as making 3-pointers, if you're a decent shooter, average 3-point shooter team, you can still win a title. You do not have to be. People look at the Golden State Warriors and people got food that say that's the way you have to win basketball. No, though that is the greatest backcourt, the greatest 3-point shooting backcourt team of all time. It will never be duplicated. People are gonna shoot a million threes. Your percentages are gonna go up because you're taking more. That's just the law of averages. The more you take, the more you're gonna make, and you're gonna miss. It's gonna all balance out. But you don't have to be an outstanding 3-point shooting team to win an NBA championship. That is a fallacy. We're in an era that people are taking more because they're trying to replicate what the Golden State Warriors did.
This is a fact right here. I'm gonna give you a real fact. The Clippers was
What
the
you
number
got?
1 3-point shooting team this year. Percentage wise,
What
Brooklyn
was
was
the
second.
percent? What was the percentage?
They shot 41%. Number 1. Brooklyn was second. New York was third. Milwaukee was fourth. The Jazz was fifth. Portland sixth. Phoenix seventh. So
I
the
stand
only
corrected.
team
I
that's
thought
not
they were down. I thought they were down to 5 or
only
6
team that
spot.
wasn't the
I
only team
stand
that's
corrected.
not in the top 10 that's in the playoffs is the Atlanta Hawks. The Sixers finished 10th in 3-point percentage this year.
Who?
You got stars.
The 76ers finished 10th in the 3-point percentage.
And you said who else wasn't in there?
No, that's the Sixers are in the top 10. The only team that's remaining that's not in the top 10 was the Hawks, and they were number 12.
Oh, okay. So okay. So let's look at it this way: the two teams that's in the Eastern that has a chance to punch a ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's vying for a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Final, are one of the lower teams in the 3-point percentage. What you're saying? The 76ers and the Hawks.
The top 10 is high. That's top 33% of the league.
No, I'm just saying off of what you said, that 10th and 12th. I'm just talking about that.
Oh, yeah, okay, they're the lower two, but yeah, they're playing each other.
I got you. I stand corrected. I thought they had fell off. That's me. I'll take that.
Okay. Yeah, they not saying it. I feel like this. I'm with you. I feel like Ben Simmons is not trash. I feel like Ben Simmons needs to be on a team where he is. He doesn't have to be the main scorer, but he has to be implemented as far as a big part of the offense. As far as like you need to clear this, he needs to play with a superstar where he can have the number 2 guard can even be on 3 can be the main scorer, but the center has to be a sniper, like a Bearden, whatever what the dude name is from the Wizards.
From the Wizards?
The power forward center dude. Bearden, the one come off the bench.
Oh yeah. I know you're talking about.
Like you need because Ben Simmons can run the 5 in today's league as well. Like for most, he can run, and unless he's going against Jokic or Embiid, He can guard or Giannis. He can guard any big man in the league almost.
And that's what I'm saying. His defensive versatility alone keeps him out of the liability scrub category. I just don't subscribe to it. Again, I'm a Ben Simmons fan. You know what I'm saying? Since he was at LSU, I'm a Ben Simmons fan. Again, his free throw shooting is horrible. There's no excuse for it. He is a horrible free throw shooter. But again, I don't think he's an alpha one on your team. I don't think he's your second, but I think he's a complementary piece that can be on a championship team. That's just me. I always said that. I think you would love to have him on your team if you have the right pieces around him. But if he's your best player, if he's your second best player, I don't think you're a championship team. That's just me.
And you think his ego will allow him to be less than that because
I don't think
he doesn't want to
ego.
play forward. That would be the most beneficial for him, but he doesn't play it. So my thing is he's a liability because he is still allowed to have an ego even with his deficiencies. He should have went to playing a 3 or the 4. And with that defense, I can say it can matter. I think he's a good defender. At a 3 or a 4, I think Ben Simmons works for your team. Once he makes a demand that he has to play the one guard and it has to funnel through him, he got to be the one to control the ball. That don't make sense.
It does.
You are a liability. If you won't say it's because of his pride, he's still a liability if you let your pride get in the way.
No, it's not about pride, fella.
Hey, Jacoby, would you say this? Just shoot the. What if he just shoot the ball? Like not even saying at a high clip. Like it's no like when they disrespect you, let it fly a couple times, man. We didn't see him hit threes.
Hey, let me ask y'all something, Coach. You wasn't on for this part, but we was talking about has Ben Simmons gotten better since his rookie year. Well, I remember a little bit about him at LSU, and I remember that they didn't make the NCAA tournament. I remember the best win of that season, that when they LSU that season where they beat Kentucky, where Ben Simmons didn't even play. So, Coach, I'm asking you, do you think Ben Simmons has gotten better as a player from his year at LSU to his rookie year to now, or is he a lot of that he's benefiting from hype?
No, I think he is what he is. I don't think he's gotten worse. I think his game is what it is. Ben Simmons, and when you talk about his pride won't let him change his position. If he changes his position, he doesn't help you. He's a point guard. If he can't shoot, and if his biggest asset is defense and playmaking, if you move him to the 3, then he has to be a 3-and-D guy. He can't shoot the 3, so then he's just a D guy. So why not use his best skill set? Is because again he has an enhanced court vision. The guy's a great playmaker. He's a facilitator. That is his best skill set. If you take the ball out of his hand, then what do you have? You have a 3-and-D wing that doesn't shoot the 3.
What about this?
He needs to do what LeBron did. LeBron didn't play point guard in Miami. He had the ball in his hand sometimes because he can make plays and everything like that. But they always kept Mario Thomas and Dwayne Wade at the 2 guard spot.
What about this though? What about this, Coach? What about using him as? I think it'll be perfect because I feel like as my for me playing basketball, the second best or not the first best passer should always be your utility man. Like if you set me a screen and you get open, I hit you, you already see the floor. Like if Ben Simmons is 6'10" solid. He set a screen for a Dame Lillard, right? Once he roll, 9 out of 10 is gonna be a guard on him. Ben Simmons has the IQ to when you pass him the ball, he knows what all 4 people already is. So he either has an easy layup or he's going to make the right pass. But now you're putting him in position to score, and you're always putting him in position to make a play.
But here's the problem with that: if you use him as the screener, you know that he's not a threat from the outside. So they're not even respecting the pick and pop. They're just gonna trap the ball. Because they can rotate late once he kicks it back to Ben Simmons because he's not going to shoot the 3. So he's in a high pick and roll, just trap the ball because even if the man that has the ball, the ball handler, kicks it back to him, you have time to rotate because he's not a threat from the 3.
But who's rotating? That's what I'm saying. Like you want.
That's what I'm saying.
Who's rotating
that's
on
why
Ben
I said
Simmons
he's not a
coming to the goal?
He's not. Hey, that's not part of his game. Have you seen him tag off a roll? That's what I'm saying.
I've
He
seen
has a
Ben
limited game.
Simmons
That's why I
give
never
you
called him a
40.
superstar.
I've seen Ben Simmons give you 40 when the floor is spread, because now he does know how to take advantage
Oh,
of a mismatch.
no, that's what I'm saying. He's a talented player, but that's why I don't call him a superstar, because his game is limited.
I mean, he's
If the
nowhere near a
floor is spread,
superstar.
that's what I literally just said that. If the floor is spread and he has a mismatch and he can get himself going to a goal, of course. And if you're not going to adjust to it, he's going to make it happen. But if you have somebody that can, if you have a good coach on the opposite side that's not going to give him a easy mismatch, or they're going to rotate to him and cut off the paint, he no longer helps you at that role guy. You feel what I'm saying? He's limited offensively. I'll be the first to say it. And again,
Coach,
I'm a Ben Simmons fan. So you have to keep him at the point guard or he's useless on the court.
coach. But let me
Whoa.
ask you this though, like, because you're a fan of him, I want your opinion on it.
What you
Do
got?
you really believe Ben Simmons like has the mindset to be able to make them kind of adjustments?
I think Ben Simmons falls into that category of I've been the best, been so good so long that it's going to take him a while to get. Think about it. They were awarded him with a $150 million contract. After everything people said about it, they still extended him. He still got a
Hey,
big payday.
hey,
And
So
that's
if,
what I'm saying.
hey,
So how
Roy.
you not go? He
but
can't
again,
take a back seat.
no, but no. What I'm saying is,
Hey,
it's
Roy.
about a mindset. It's about maturity, and everybody doesn't get maturity at the same time. If you've been the number one high school player in the country, your junior, your senior year, you're the number one recruit in the country, you was a top 5 draft pick, all that good shit, and as limited as you are, you still found success in the league. You still made playoff runs. You still got a $150 million contract. You're gonna continue to do things your way until that maturity factor kicks in, or you get somebody, or you get an Embiid to be like, hey, bro, you fucking suck. You need to do X, Y, and Z. Or you got to have a coach to come in there and say, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Or
Wait,
really, truly, like I've been saying, he needs to be shipped out.
hey, Roy.
Him and Embiid don't fit.
What? I know this. It's not on topic, but it's off topic. I know it's one of the things you said you want to talk about. When I think of Ben Simmons, I think of Alex Smith.
I think he's a little more talented than that, but I can see where you go with that. I would say more of a Carson Wentz, supremely talented, but always gets in his own way.
MVP.
Carson Wentz never got in his own way.
Carson Wentz was
Carson
MVP
Wentz
one
is
year,
not,
wasn't it?
no,
He was
never won
going.
No, he got hurt right before, but he
Oh,
was a leading
he was. I
candidate
mean, he
for
had an
MVP.
MVP type season though.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. Ben
Carson Wentz
Simmons
don't have a
never
flaw in
had
his game though.
yeah, you know what? You might be right on that. Maybe I need to find. Okay, let's go with Matthew Stafford.
Matthew
Supremely
Stafford.
talented, but
Matthew Stafford gonna let it. When I think of Matthew Stafford, I think of a 3-point shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that's just
nah.
that always taking chances. Too
I
many
think
Yeah,
chances.
I like that Alex Smith comparison. I like that Alex Smith one.
I can't
I
go
like
with Alex Smith because Alex Smith never had that natural talent. Ben Simmons is naturally gifted, man. Let's not. Now, I think we going a little far off the path now.
no.
Let's
I
not
think
act like
Alex Smith was
he's
hyped
not
up.
a gifted
Okay,
basketball player.
watch this.
Alex
Hey,
Smith
Coach,
was
what's the
hyped up
most
just like
important?
Ben Simmons.
Coach, what's the most important part of basketball?
Most important part of
Scoring.
basketball?
Scoring.
Nah, I wouldn't say that because defense still wins championships.
No,
Let's not
scoring.
act like.
Scoring
Let's
is the
not
most
act.
important part of basketball.
No, it's not, bro. Because again, if you go back and look at those Warrior teams, those Splash Brothers, they were still top 5 in defense. Two of
Hold
their championships, they were the number 1 defensive team in the league.
Hey,
So
And
let's
they was
not act
also
like
number
it was
one
just offense.
offense.
hey,
But
if
I'm
we
just
talking
saying,
about a
let's
player,
not.
if we talk about player, it's definitely scoring. If we talking about a player,
I'm
it's
not.
definitely
I can't say that.
Hey, rank the
You're gonna
top
take a
5 power
score over
forward.
somebody.
Hey, coach,
You're gonna
Rank
take
the
a
top
score
5
over a
power
defender
forward
any day.
right now. Hey,
What
rank
you
the
say?
top 5 power forward.
I'm gonna agree with you.
Hey, y'all want both of
Right.
y'all to rank the top 5 power forwards. Right. In the NBA history, rank the top 5 power forwards.
Top 5 power forwards in NBA history.
All right.
Yeah.
The big fundamental. I'm gonna go with Kevin McHale. I'm no particular order. The big fundamental: Kevin McHale, Charles Barkley, Kevin Garnett, and the mailman.
No Dirk.
Okay. Who would be your next 5?
Who would be my next 5? Oh God, man, I wasn't ready for that one. Jesus.
Right?
Dirk, of
I'd
course.
have to think on that one, man. That's a good question.
Okay, so you said defense is more important than offense, right?
Wait, you said what?
You said defense is more important than scoring, right?
No, I know. They asked me what's the most important thing was offense. I think they go hand in hand. That's half of the game.
No, listen. No, I'm talking about for an individual. You
The-
need to be able to. A scorer is way more important than a defender as an individual. Like
I
if you
can't
think of your
say that
top five players in the league, your top five players in the league, probably 3 of them can't play defense.
okay,
Hey,
and if you ask me, one of my favorite point guards is John Stockton. He was never a scorer, but he's the all-time leading steals and assists.
no, but look, if defense meant as much as scoring, then we wouldn't be having this Ben Simmons conversation.
Man, listen what I'm saying.
If it meant as much as scoring, y'all wouldn't call Kevin Durant the best player in the world.
Wait, no, I mean that's just. I think Kevin Durant is but Kevin Durant is more than just a scorer. If you haven't noticed,
I mean, but it's people that's elite on both sides of the ball, though. You have 2 or 3 players that are elite, like going to be top 5 scoring every year and going to be a top 5 defender every year. You have 2 or 3 people in the league that does that year in, year out. But they're probably not better than Kevin Durant to you. They're probably not better than Curry to you. They're probably not better than Harden to you. And they're probably not better than Luka to you. Those are 4 people that only one. Kevin Durant is the only one of the 4 that is decent on defense. The other 3 are. Harden has great post defense at times, but Curry defense is abysmal. Luka defense is horrible.
We talking about a guy that led the league in on-ball steals his MVP year. So let's stop going with that fallacy as well. Anytime
he led the league
I ain't gonna lie to you. That's one of those things to where it was like it was the way they were structured though, bro.
No, Jimmy Butler led the league in on-ball steals that year. He led the league in in the passing lane. He's a great
steals. On-ball steals.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think that's one of them things where it was like, it's not that Steph was a bad defender, but if you look at Golden State, who you gonna try to hunt out first? It's like the other defenders were so good that Steph being decent make him look horrible in comparison. Because one-on-one, who you gonna go against? Draymond, Iggy, Clay? No, let's go after Steph. He's the smallest. But he plays actually good team defense.
All right, now they're not here. Clay's not here right now. They're not the same team. Iggy's not there, and Clay and his defense looks the exact same. It's not good.
No,
he's just smaller. But it's like as far as standing in front of your opponent, playing the ball well, it's like you don't never really see Curry in bad defensive position.
Curry is a great Curry's a great off-ball defender. I agree with you with that. Curry's a great off-ball defender.
Hey, coach, the reason why I was asking you to name your power forwards, like just name them out of nowhere, I wanted to see if Dennis Rodman came up because I personally think Dennis Rodman is the best defensive power forward / small forward ever.
Wait, best what?
He's probably the best defender ever.
Best defender ever. But if you're ranking your top 5 or even top 10 power forwards, 98% of this population not gonna mention his name.
Yeah, I mean that best defending power forward is possible. I call Dennis Rodman the best rebounder of all time, but you're right, he'll never end up in nobody's top 10 at that aspect. But like I said,
he got 4 defensive player of the year awards?
He got 2.
He got two.
But again, John Stockton is probably the 3rd or 4th best point guard of all time. He was never a scorer, but he's the all-time leader in assists and all-time leader in steals.
You think John Stockton top 3?
Yeah, in point guards, of course.
No, I don't.
He's a top 5 point guard of all time. It's not even questionable.
Top 5. Yeah, top 5.
Who you tell top 3 point guard of all time?
Top 5.
John Stockton.
I don't think I personally got him in my top 5.
So you gonna tell me the all-time leader in steals and assists, who didn't miss a game in 16 years, and set NBA record with 14 assists a game, 13 assists a game for a season?
And longevity does help.
But me and you disagree. I don't think stats are like prove everything. So I would have probably still took Isaiah Thomas over John Stockton.
What is a point guard's job? Facilitate the offense and put people in scoring position, right?
In his area,
point guard job. I mean that varies because Allen
It is
Iverson
very,
played point guard.
But no.
in
Listen, what I'm saying.
today's time, your point guard has to almost be one of your best scorers on the court. The whoever, and you're going by the position of point guard. The point, like you said, point guard is a facilitator. Anybody can really run point. Jokic is really their point guard. If we want to be honest,
listen to what I'm saying. Your point guard. I'm just saying the point guard position. If you just going by what is it for a point guard to do? What is your role on a team? Let me say it better with that. Your role as a team.
It has revolutionized. Your point guard needs to score.
No, he doesn't. No,
yes, he does.
Quit falling into that fallacy,
needs
bro.
to score.
So did Kyle Lowry score a whole lot?
Your phone keeps doing like I don't know if it's just to me, but
is Kyle Lowry a scorer?
Kyle Lowry gets you 20 points a game. He gets you 20 points a game. He gets you 20 points a game. That's scoring. Yes. Kyle Lowry is going to score you 20.
I guarantee you Kyle Lowry does not average 20 points a game in his career. I guarantee you. Look it up.
But at the same time, LeBron always has a point guard. LeBron runs the offense.
But listen,
like LeBron,
he's the point guard.
Why would you rather have a point guard run your offense than LeBron if he's on your team, though?
Listen what I'm saying, my brother. You're missing my overall point. I don't care if there's a C by your name, SF by your name, or power forward by your name. If you have the person that is in charge of facilitating your offense, putting people in position to play, to score, setting the tempo, you are the point guard of your team. I don't care what they're labeled by. I still say LeBron is one of the best point guards of this generation, even though he's a small forward. I'm just saying whoever facilitates your offense, whoever sets up, that's your point guard. That's what you asked him to do. Who did that better than John Stockton?
I mean, but I still feel like if you talking about historically, I think you could say Jerry West, you could say Isaiah Thomas, you could say Magic Johnson, you could say even during that time, what made John Stockton so much better than Mark Price?
Oh man, he shit on Mark Price. He was a much better defender. He was a much better facilitator. He was a better pass. He did everything better than Mark Price. And again, I'm a Mark Price fan. I like Mark Price.
No, I'm just asking, was he that much better than Mark Price?
Oh yeah.
Hey, Wilk, jump in, Wilk, What your thoughts, man?
I don't even know what you're talking about, man. What he do, baby? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, so we started with Ben Simmons about what a point guard, what he does for Philly. Is he a lot? Let's start with you with that. Do you think Ben Simmons is a liability for Philly? He playing your Hawks. Do you think the Hawks have? What's the word I'm looking for? Expose Ben Simmons.
I'm gonna say this. I was drove when they took Ben Simmons out. You know what I'm saying? If Ben Simmons wouldn't have been in foul trouble, we would have beat them people. Tyrese Maxey scored 16 points. I think that's more than Ben Simmons scored in any game in series. Ben Simmons sad, bro.
He's sad to finish second as the defensive player of the year, but he's sad. All right, hey man. We just have definitions of sad.
So what you're saying is Ben Simmons I think Wilk. So as far as ranking all the point guards in the league, do y'all have Ben Simmons top 5, top 10, or top 20?
Top 20 on a great day.
Top 20 on a great day?
Yeah, on a great day, he's top 20. He's definitely not top 5. He's definitely not top 10. Again, and I'm a Ben Simmons fan. You have to know what you're dealing with. Like I say, everybody's acting like this guy's a superstar. Yes, if he came in, he was a superstar, and he was playing like this, then yes, he's overrated, blah, blah. But he's never been there. Who called him a superstar is what I want to know.
I mean, I think the media, the media portrayed him as a superstar, like from when he was at LSU, like they portrayed him as being a superstar. Like I don't even think he finished school that year because they was already saying, "Oh, Ben Simmons going number 1," and
no, because he got suspended for the first half because he didn't go to class, and then as soon as basketball season was over with, Ben Simmons was gone.
He clocked out.
You know the reason why he won Rookie of the Year over Donovan Mitchell is because they tried to market him as a superstar.
They tried. Hey, listen, I don't go by media narratives. I go by looking at what a motherfucker do. I never thought Ben Simmons was a superstar. Like I say, he's barely at that star level. Barely. When I say barely, barely. And just to go back to what you said earlier when you compared John Stockton to Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas, I got them rated as the number 1 point guard of all time and the number 3 point guard of all time. So no, he doesn't surpass those guys. That's why I say
I
he's a
heard
top
you
5
think I'm
point
gonna say
guard.
something to
So,
that. All right.
so Will, getting back to you, Will, why is Ben Simmons sad? Like I need to know why Ben Simmons sad. I need you to explain that, Steve.
Bro, when you consider one of the best players on the team, and you can't be in crunch time because you can't hit a shot, so the defense set. I'm telling you, he make it hard on Embiid. He make it harder on Embiid. You know what I'm saying? Because he can't space the floor, and then he can't be in critical moments because he can't hit free throws. You know what I'm saying? And then what we see is, like, I know a lot of people throw out his defense, which, yeah, man, he can defend multiple positions. But in today's game, what you can do defensively, you know what I'm saying, that don't hide your offensive inabilities, man. You know what I'm saying? So if you're unable to hit an outside shot, unable to hit free throws, you're a liability. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Ben Simmons is, man. He make the game harder on the rest of his teammates. You see how everything opened up when Maxey got in the game. You can't double down on. You can't leave nobody. Whenever Embiid was down on the block, they was every time they doubled down, it was Ben Simmons, man. But when Ben Simmons was out in foul trouble, you can't leave Maxey, you can't leave Curry, you can't leave Tobias Harris, you can't leave that dude Porkman or whatever his name is. You know what I'm saying? So Ben Simmons is a liability, bro. It's bad, bro. Like, it's really bad. And like this playoffs is really it's exposing him, man. He's really in a dunker spot the whole time he in the game. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Yeah, and I thought, like, when I seen him on Trae Young, he was neutralizing Trae Young. I thought, he was serving his purpose, neutralizing Trae Young. But then when Trae Young still ended up getting, 30, 38 and 8 or whatever he had, I'm like, why Ben Simmons, like, what he doing out there? Like,
he played Trae Young good. He played Trae Young well one game, man. He played Trae Young well one game. And Trae Young had to adjust. He had to adjust on how he was going to attack Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons really can't. It's crazy, man. Like, I don't really get it when everybody was like, man, he gonna shut Trae Young down, he gonna do this, he gonna do that. He really had one good game against Trae Young, and ever since then, man, Trae Young made the necessary adjustments to do whatever he needed to do. But I'm not gonna take nothing away from his defense, man. I'm gonna still say he's one of the best defenders in the league. But if you can't do nothing on the offensive side, you hurt your team. I don't care how great of a defender.
All I know is, so 15, 7, and 7 on 55% shooting, one of the best defenders in the league. I'll take him on my squad.
Hey, but 55, that 55% shooting is misleading, though.
No, they're not.
It's misleading.
No, it's not misleading. He shoots at his spots. If he gets a matchup in the post, if he's going to the goal, he's gonna get his shot. He's not an outside shooter. We know this. That's what I'm saying. It's not misleading because we know he's not going to shoot from outside 16 feet. We know this.
I tell you, I picked Philly to win. I picked Philly to win this next game because I picked them in 7. But if they don't win, the pressure gonna be on Philly GM to try to do something with Ben Simmons. I want
to address that though, because I agree when you're looking at the raw numbers, coach, 55% shooting, 15, 7, and 7. I agree. But what the stat sheet don't show is how his inability to score on the offensive end by shooting outside jumpers, how it impacts other people. You know what I mean? I'm talking about from a spacing standpoint when you're looking at Joel Embiid. When you got shooters around, let's go back a few years before the NBA became crazy offensively the way it is. You remember when Stan Van Gundy had Dwight Howard and he surrounded Dwight Howard with all them shooters? Dwight Howard was able to attack a lot of one-on-one matchups without people doubling down because you had to stay out there. Well, the only reason why Atlanta has been able to do whatever in the second half of some of these games with Embiid is because they're using Collins to defend Ben Simmons. And every time Embiid try to make a post move, Collins coming over with the help. Where if you got a guard out there that can shoot, you know what I'm saying? You open everything up for Embiid. Now, to your point, you got a 6'10" playmaker, who can get to his spots and he can lock up on defense. Yeah, that's something every team should covet. But in this new era when spacing is so important, it's just hard to see them being a legit championship team with Ben Simmons on the floor. That's just
I said that. No, I agree with you. I said that. I said with Ben Simmons and Embiid, they don't mix together. Ben Simmons should have been out of there. They don't play well enough. They mess up the space, and it is what it is. I also said if Ben Simmons is your first or second best player, you're not a championship team in my eyes because he's not that guy. He's not a superstar. He's not a star. He's a fledgling all-star. He's gonna make some all-star games here and there. Like I say, he's an old school point guard. People don't like it for the simple fact that
he's not an old school point guard. Just because you can't shoot don't make you an old school point guard.
So, but go ahead, Tycoon.
What are you talking about?
Tycoon, get up in there. What you was about to say?
I was saying that go what Will was saying was that go back to saying that offense is more for the individual. You can hide a bad defender. It's hard to hide a bad offensive player. Like when, for instance, remember Andre Robinson?
Yeah.
It shrinks the floor for everybody. On defense, I can get Harden and go put him on PJ Tucker. I know PJ Tucker's not going to move 9 out of 10. I know I can go put my bad defender on whoever's going to be sitting in this corner.
Danny Green.
It's not a big size advantage. You can't do it.
Hey, Tycoon. You remember why James Harden didn't start for the OKC Thunder in the beginning, right?
His defense.
Thabo Sefolosha had to start because defensively Harden wasn't there. So if his shot wasn't falling, he was more of a liability.
I think OKC had enough offense starting though. I think
they had offense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So why is Draymond still?
You only got one ball.
Why is Draymond still in the league?
So if I got Kevin Durant, offense is not my problem.
But look, Jacoby, Harden, even though he was coming off the bench, not starting, he was OKC best point guard because at the end of the game, he was
playing 30 minutes.
Oh, Kenneth, I'm not saying that who was the better player. I'm just saying in reference to what Tycoon was saying, I was agreeing with him, saying like why sometimes you have another player in. And so even though James Harden was the better point guard, they still started Sefolosha because we got to come in starting off having some defense on the ball. So it's not about who I thought was better. It's just that's a decision that they made for that reason.
Well, what I'm saying is I think Sefolosha was starting because OKC had enough offense in Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. So why not have Harden come off the bench?
Right.
I don't know if you remember this, Ward. He wasn't the third best offensive player at the time. That's when Jeff Green was cold.
Yeah.
Hindsight 2020 though. Like people go always look at it like James Harden. It wasn't that he was that bad back then. People go kind of look at it like, look what all James Harden is now. OKC to the one.
No, my whole point about was with the Ben Simmons. You can't hide a bad offensive player. Like you can't. It's hard. It's harder to hide a bad offensive player.
So why is Draymond Green still in the league?
Player. Like if all five of us on the team and one of us
Draymond Green still in the league?
Boy, stop it. I just said something about that. You see the disrespect Draymond Green, like I was saying earlier again?
He's not an offensive player. He's horrible offensively.
No, but he's not a liability.
Oh, he is.
Son, he ran their whole offense.
I don't think Draymond Green.
Draymond Green ran the offense. How could he be the liability? And then he done made key shots before.
There we go.
So he wasn't a liability. Him going to the free throw line.
Ben Simmons does the same thing.
But Ben Simmons
can't shoot free throws or make any open shots.
Draymond Green, Ben Simmons shoots a
Draymond Green can still give you like 50% from the 3-point line in a big moment.
Do you realize
I said he could be 50-50. No, Draymond Green ain't never made no big shot. That's what you're saying now?
That's what I said. That's what you heard me say. Come on now.
No, I heard when I said you said Draymond Green was a liability, but I just asked you, has he made big shots? That's something Ben Simmons can't say he's giving me.
You know what I said? I'm using your words as far as liability. And your rebuttal was he ran their offense. How can he be a liability? So my rebuttal is if
I
Ben
mean, you
Simmons is
trying real hard, but I also gave you that when you
oh
compare Ben
God,
Simmons to an old school point guard. Old
there
school
we
point
go.
guard still made free
We
throws, and even
still
if they
ain't
weren't great shooters, they can still give you
still ain't
some
answered the
shots.
question. Still ain't answered the question
I
though.
did give you the answer to the
Oh, you
question.
didn't?
I
You
said that he
didn't?
did
All you
more. He
said
gave
was
you big shots. Ben
you
Simmons
said
cannot.
he
Just because you
your
don't hear
answer
what you want to
was
hear,
he
that doesn't mean
tried.
I answer
He
your question.
tried. That's not answering the question. You said he
Draymond Green was
tried.
actually the lead, even though they lost Game 7. Draymond Green made buku shots when they lost to
When it-
Cleveland.
Why
So
are
you
you talking
can't
about
say that he can't make
2016? I'm not
shots.
talking about 2016. I'm not even talking about that. I'm
We
talking about
talking
his
about
inability
career
to
wide. So
shoot.
you just asked
Oh, so
me,
now
would
we
it be a
go career wide.
liability? I
So
gave you
we're gonna
Draymond Green that
compare.
made big shots,
So now we're
and he's
gonna
not a
compare a
liability
10-year
at the
career
free
to
throw
three.
line to where you can hack Draymond
So
Green to
now
go
we're
to the
gonna
line
so
to
now we're
catch
gonna
up with you. So I
so now
answered
we're
your
comparing
question.
careers.
Draymond Green does all the things Ben Simmons does, and is still a better shooter. That's
So
not
if
my opinion that he's a better shooter. That is factually
so
shown that Draymond Green is a better shooter than Ben Simmons. You can't
how
compare the
and what
two.
by what statistical category?
Every one of them. If you shoot 0% from the 3-point line, if I shoot 2%, then I'm better than you statistically.
So what did Draymond shoot this year from three?
Was it 20%?
I think it was 21.
Huh?
I think it was 21 or 24, right?
Hold on. I can get it's the internet. We have the internet. Hold on.
Yeah, that's why I asked you. That was the reason for the question. To pull it up.
Because he's trying to tell me how is
Because
Draymond Green different from Ben Simmons? Because I said
I
Draymond
used
Green ran
your
the offense, and he said, what's the difference between that and Ben Simmons? I
Ben
said
Simmons
Draymond
runs
Green
his
and giving you
offense.
big shots and free throws.
All
He
his
said you
numbers go
still
up in the
not.
playoffs.
Yeah, but he doesn't believe this for some reason.
No, he
But no,
could
what I'm saying is if your
points per game,
if
rebounds.
your response is
All right,
Draymond
career
Green runs
stat. Draymond Green this year. Well, let me see. 44% from the field.
what he shot this year. I didn't want to do it this year. I'm talking about this year alone. I don't even need career.
No, I'm looking at this year. I
So
said his
hold on.
overall. I'm looking at the 3-point field goal percentage.
Because Ben Simmons shot
27.
30%.
Hey, let me jump in. I think the biggest difference between Ben Simmons and Draymond Green is that Ben Simmons, like, he's more likely like not to shoot it. Like he not gonna shoot it. Draymond
Kenny, the
Green,
fact that this is an argument is kind of funny in the first place.
Hey, this went over
Hey, can I jump
everybody's
in?
head, I'm guessing. This went
wait,
over
Can,
wait,
can,
everybody's
can I
head.
jump in? Can I jump
let
in
Will
real
jump
quick?
in. Jump in, Will.
What I would say the difference is, and this is just me, you know what I'm saying? I ain't really look up no statistical numbers or anything like that. I think it's two big things with Draymond and Ben. Number one being Draymond's willingness to at least attempt the shot. You know what I'm saying? The second thing is I think Draymond it's the energy that he brings to the game. Ben Simmons don't bring no energy. I think Draymond is the heart and soul of that Warriors team. I'm not saying he's the best player, but Draymond is definitely a leader on that team. You know what I'm saying? Ben Simmons, to me, I don't know if y'all have watched the games, but he doesn't look like he's that into the game. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm just going through the
You don't
motions
need
at
energy. You
times.
don't need energy to play this game, though. That's
Say it
Kawhi.
again.
You don't need energy to be effective at your game. That's Kawhi.
But no, what I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
but if you
nah,
lack
that's
in
a
other
good point.
things, then you can't even bring energy, then you short me
No,
as a teammate.
That's
So
that's a good point. But
so
what I'm
Kawhi
saying,
shouting
when
everybody?
you
Does
when you a,
Kawhi
when you
shout
a, when
people?
you a leader, no. But what I'm saying, I feel you, coach. But what I'm saying is, when you consider one of the best players on that team, you know those other guys feed off you. And to your point with Kawhi, I brought something up on like 2 podcasts ago. I don't think Kawhi Leonard is a piece that you build around. I think Kawhi Leonard is better suited as being the best player coming to a ready-made situation. I don't think Kawhi Leonard is a leader. I don't think he was the leader in Toronto. He was just able
I
to step
feel
in
that.
Toronto and do his thing. You had guys like Lowry who brought the energy. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see Kawhi. But when
I feel
like
that.
Ben Simmons is considered, they market him as a superstar, and he don't bring no energy. Like guys can't feed off of him, so you can't get a guy like Shake Milton. Like, okay, well, this is my leader. I'm gonna feed off of him. He gonna continue to bring the energy. We down by 10 in the fourth. This dude gonna galvanize the troops and get the troops ready. Man, let's not give up. Ben Simmons kind of just do his own thing, like, you know what I'm saying? And some of that is the confidence or the lack thereof because he can't hit free throws and stuff down the stretch. So I get it. But Draymond does shoot a better percentage from his free throws better. Like the threes, he probably sad with the threes. He does shoot them, but the free throws, like Ben Simmons, you come on, man. Like,
brother,
you can't be shooting like 30%. You know what I'm saying?
everything went that conversation went over everybody's head. So I guess I have to explain it. If we're gonna say that Draymond Green runs the offense, the best defensive player on the floor, and things like that, those are some of the same characteristics that Ben Simmons has. I'm not saying Ben Simmons is Draymond Green. I'm not saying Ben Simmons has the energy of Draymond Green. My point was if Draymond Green is not a liability because he runs the offense, he plays great defense. If Ben Simmons is running his offense and plays great defense, by that definition, he's not a liability. That's all I'm saying.
No, but you said it went over our head, and I said no. You ended the conversation after two things. You said, well, because he played defense and he run the offense, they the same. It's like, no, keep going. Draymond Green can still give you more as far as if you leave him open, he can make an open shot.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna let y'all have that topic. I think what helps Draymond Green is the best player on that team doesn't occupy the same space he occupies. I think that's the problem with Philly, though. Like, the best player in Philly is Embiid, and he occupies the same space Ben Simmons occupies. Steph Curry is the best player in Golden State, and he don't occupy the same space as Draymond. So you got better spacing between your best players. That's kind of what I see. You know what I'm saying? But y'all tell me if I'm wrong or not. But I'm gonna let y'all hash it out on that topic, man.
I ain't gonna lie to you. It really don't make I ain't got nothing to add. Ben Simmons is a liability to me. That's how I feel. He gonna feel differently. Like, we gonna have the belief that we have on it, and that's just what it is.
I just can't see a player that is a part of that's up for an league award as being one best side of the ball as a liability. That just doesn't connect with me.
So Kobe, he's a defensive player of the year candidate. He can't be a liability.
That lets you know that he's one of the best defensive players in the league. And again, like I say, from the point guard position, he gives you 15, 7, and 7. He may not be living up to expectations. He may have so much more to add to his game, but that don't make him. He's a liability, free throws and late in the game. I'll give you that. But as a player, complete player, I'll take it. I put him. The Lakers get him tomorrow. I'll take it.
You'll take him over from Dame Lillard?
Hell, come on now. Let's keep it real.
Because Dame can't play defense is all I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, as a guard, your defense is very minimum. Is all I'm saying. The league switches so often. You got so many pick and rolls where players got to switch over. An individual defender don't even matter that much like that.
Shit, that ain't true. That's not true at all.
Great offense will always be great defense. Defense is reaction.
Oh, go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
Would you take Ben Lonzo, coach?
Huh?
Would you take Ben Simmons over Lonzo?
Would I take Ben Simmons over Lonzo?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I did that dance before. I don't need a repeat.
Hey, Will. Hey, I know you want to hop off, but no, I'm gonna bring you back in this topic. So I was saying earlier that Ben Simmons, I don't think he has improved since his rookie year. I honestly don't think he improved since LSU. Because if you look at his rookie numbers, Cole just said he averaged 15, 8, and 8. Well, that's what he averaged his rookie year, 15, 8, and 8. And then he averaged 17, 8, and 7, 16, 7, and 8, and this year 14, 7, and 7. So and like Kobe said, I don't think he in that mental mindset where he wanna improve on that. I think he's content of where he at and where his game at. Do you got the same thoughts?
Hey, Kenny, you can add that last thing I said too.
The last thing was I forgot. Man,
how the hell is we criticizing Giannis more than we criticizing Ben Simmons, man?
Man, like I said, the thing with Giannis dominant in a lot of areas. If you could say Ben Simmons dominant on defense, but is he dominant anywhere on offense?
Who dominate what on offense? I didn't hear that last part.
I was asking, is Ben Simmons dominant anywhere on offense? Because I think Jared said earlier, you could find your point guard that's going to give you 15 and 7. You could find it. Lonzo,
where?
I don't know.
There's 13 other players that average more assists than Ben Simmons.
Okay.
So as a point guard, if you talking about running the offense, then it's not like he's so far ahead of everybody.
How?
That way it's like he's irreplaceable as far as like those numbers.
No, I'm not just talking about just on the numbers. All right, let's not just look at just at the numbers. There's not many 6'10" playmakers that just walking around in the NBA. Let's not.
I don't need you to be 6'10" if you're gonna accomplish the job, though.
But isn't that an advantage though? I'm gonna take a player that has an advantage.
Kinda. Like height
No,
is
it's
an
not
advantage
kinda.
depending on how you use it. Because once again,
Again,
Dame
you
Lillard
can't.
shorter than Ben Simmons, and I'm gonna much rather have Dame Lillard than Ben Simmons.
Man,
I don't care who's taller.
So hold on, you're gonna break that down. There's 40. There's 10. There's 20 other superstars you take over Ben Simmons. That's an asinine discussion right there. I'm talking about from a point guard. I'm looking at this as a team building thing. If I can get a 6'10" point guard that can fit my team, again, him and Embiid doesn't fit. Let's just put that out there. If Ben Simmons is perfect for a triangle offense where he can get on the low block, spread the wealth from that angle and run the team like that, he can't do that if Embiid is right there. They just don't fit. I honestly think that Ben can get a little better in a better situation. Again, maybe that's just my naivety of liking Ben Simmons, but I think he can get better in a different situation. Now, his shooting, that's just gonna be on him. He's gonna have to get it in. He's gonna have to get that maturity of, I'm gonna have to sit in this gym all day like Jason Kidd did after his 7th, 8th year in the league of not having a consistent jumper. Of I'm gonna come here during the summer and shoot all fucking summer long until I have a reliable jump shot. As I said, go look at Jason Kidd early in his career. He had great passes. He was a playmaker. He was a facilitator, but he couldn't shoot the basketball. He just couldn't. Same thing with Rondo. When Rondo first got in the league, Rondo couldn't shoot free throws or jumpers. As they got older, that added to their game. I think people are just burying Ben Simmons a little early.
Okay, so look, so
Coach.
check it out.
Hold on, Kim.
Go ahead.
I ain't get to jump in on that question, man. You was reading off the numbers, man. I don't think he's regressed, and I don't think it's fair to say that just looking at the numbers, right? So you read off.
Y'all, you breaking up again, my dog.
Oh, you got to repeat, homie. We couldn't hear you.
Somebody had called me, but I had to decline it. So check this out. So what I'm saying is, just looking at the numbers, it's hard to say like, hey, yeah, man, he hadn't improved, because there's a lot of variables that go in. There's a lot of noise in there, right? The roster that Philly had initially isn't as good as the roster that's there now. So naturally, when you add talent, your numbers decrease. All right. But I will say this: I said Ben Simmons trash. That's because I just don't like Ben Simmons, because he was blowing on the Hawks like 2 years ago. He was talking to Karl Anthony Towns. They was playing Call of Duty, and Karl Anthony Towns like, man, I got to get off. We got a game tomorrow. He said, man, y'all just playing the Hawks. And I ain't like Ben Simmons since then. But if I'm gonna keep it real, man, I don't think he trash, but I do think it's the hype that he came in with. Like, you cannot be, you know what I'm saying, in the league today. And it's different, Coach. You brought up Rondo and you brought up Jason Kidd. You brought these guys up. These guys came up in an era where you can not be a great shooter. Now it's hard. It's hard. The game is about spacing. Like, you know it and I know it. It's about spacing. And that's what the difference is. Now, he can develop that. He can learn to shoot a little better. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be willing to take the shot. Same with LeBron. LeBron wasn't a great shooter when he came into the league. He wasn't scared to take the shot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and he done ended up making. And look, as much as we knock LeBron for shooting, how many clutch baskets he done made too, though? You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
He done made a lot of clutch baskets. He done made a lot of. We just didn't see the growth of his jump shot. And LeBron was good enough to one of them players where you could have said, well, LeBron do enough to where he don't have to be a great shooter. And he still understood that if I won't be able to, you know what I'm saying, further my game, the way this game going, I got to be at least be all right from the outside.
Facts. Again, I'm not disagreeing in saying that he is a good shooter. Again, I'm just saying he's not trash. That's been my statement from jump.
Hey, so Ben Simmons not trash?
Right.
Let me ask you this.
Do you think me saying liability mean the same thing as trash?
No. When I think of a liability, I'm thinking of somebody that shouldn't be starting in the NBA. If you're a liability, period, you shouldn't be starting in the NBA. You're not a
I think that's
starter.
where we disagree because I'm not looking at it like that when I say he a liability. It's not that I don't think that he's like an NBA starter or nothing like that. So it's like I think that's what like man, you got like a difference. Like I don't think that's not what I mean when I say liability. You feel me?
I got you.
Yeah.
If you clearing that up, then I feel you on that. I feel you.
All
yeah.
right.
It was just a loss in translation.
Hey, but we about to go ahead and wrap it up, fellas. The game on. Milwaukee winning 2019 right now, so we just gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Man, hey Kobe, if I don't talk to you tomorrow, happy Father's Day, man.
Man, appreciate it. You too.
All right, man. Y'all have a blessing.
All right.